What is up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is Coffee with Den, episode 68. I am Dave, or Distant on Den, and we're here with John, or T Swift or Die,
That's
also on Den.
me.
And we're going to talk about some stuff. It's freestyle episode today, so we'll just kind of bounce around, talk about different topics, dig through the replies. If you're unfamiliar, there's a post that goes along with this episode over in the Coffee with Den layer. It's got a link at the top to join live if you want to do that. Looks like I am is getting ready to join us right now. We'll bring him up in a minute. And of course, you can watch this over on Odyssey, on YouTube, or on Twitter. I have been embedding it into the post here, but YouTube changed something and the live videos stopped working on Den for some reason. The pre-recorded ones work fine, but the live ones just show up as like a white box. So we got to figure that out, do something about it. I'm sure it's just a minor update or something. So let's get into it. Let's bring up I am. What's up, sir? Good morning.
I just came back from a safari.
Yeah, how's your crystal skull collection, sir?
It's going well, going well.
Why did your voice change because you went on a safari? Like, I go on vacations all the time, and my voice is exactly the same as when I left.
This one had a rock concert.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was this one also in the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, well, there's actually, I wish Gravity Crab was here. He could confirm the story, but there's a cave of ancient Egyptian artifacts inside the Grand Canyon.
Alien, what did you say? Ancient alien artifacts? What?
Yes, from Egypt.
Okay. All right. Every time Gravity Crab's not here, we should talk about how
we wish he was here.
Egyptians are fake, and it was all aliens all the whole time, and the movie Stargate is a documentary.
Yes.
He would love that. So yeah, freestyle
That's
episode.
what I said in my post. I posted this morning.
Did you?
Yeah,
I'll have to check it out.
Get that for posting on the show and then making my appearance here.
Hey, that's a good point. I left that out of the intro. You get rewarded for hanging out. You can post on the post. You can chat in the chat, and you can come on the show.
So yeah.
Who's here? Juicy J is here. Good morning. What's up?
Juicy.
We were talking, John and I were talking before we went live here about like if we were to go start our own town, start our own city, what would that look like? And I was the first thing that jumped in my head was M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, where they got sick of society and like without the murdery stuff and without the weird like pretending to be a monster in the woods to scare the kids away from finding out that there's a real world out there.
Yeah. Keep them contained.
Retroactive spoiler alert, I guess. It's been long enough, right? Besides that,
say that the Korean leadership, that must be their favorite movie.
Yeah, that's
North
kind of
Korea.
it, right?
North
North Korea had more.
I feel like you gotta say which Korea with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like South Korea is the most technologically advanced place in the world. North Korea, we've got some old Jim Henson puppets to try to scare you from leaving. Yeah. And if not, there's a minefield between you and anywhere you want to go.
Did you know
Have you
that?
ever watched some of the escapes on YouTube? Man, they're amazing.
I actually haven't. I've read about them, but
the vehicle that's crashing through and the guy's running and they're shooting after and at him.
No kidding, really?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Check it out.
I know. I was reading about. We still do this, but I was reading about it when I was. I read about a lot of things in the Navy when I was sitting in basically a metal box floating in the ocean for months. We had internet access. I was lucky we had internet access. I could just read and consume information. One of them was about how we send movies into North Korea via balloon. There's a team that just they put a thumb drive on a balloon and they send it over and figure it'll drop somewhere. Somebody will find it and you guys can figure out how to distribute it amongst yourselves. But we send like DVD players and shit.
So you're saying that's what the Chinese spy balloon was doing? It was dropping Chinese movies overhead?
Jackie Chan
because of the Trump wall, we've been self-contained in this bubble and don't know what's going on in the outside
world. We need to consume more Chinese media. That's what they think.
Because of the Trump wall.
Because of the Trump wall.
Because of the wall with Mexico that never went up. We need to consume more martial arts films.
Yes.
True story. So
more drunken master. I think that's the cure for society.
I really derailed the show. I'm sorry, but so I'm in Matamoros. All right, that's on the other side. That's in Mexico, on the other side of Brownsville, okay, Texas. So I'm going and I'm driving and to the bus station, and there's this house that sits on the corner, and the guy's got like kind of like the garden wall, like of bricks. When you
totally.
It might be like 4 layers. Four bricks high.
Seen a bunch of those. Yeah.
All right. Well, he's painted it, and he wrote Trump's wall.
This was down in Mexico.
He was in Mexico. It was about 3 feet tall.
That's great. My favorite part.
Corner of his house. It was so cool.
Yeah, like the wall thing. Regardless of like if you're pro or against the wall or whatever, there's funny shit that happened.
Exactly.
Just objectively funny shit that happened.
And that's all I'm being. I'm just being objective. I'm not
one of the of course.
Or wall, I mean.
Yeah. One of the things that I enjoyed watching the most was the evolution of what the concept of that wall was supposed to be and what constituted victory and success in building it. It just kind of like in the beginning, it was like the Great Wall of Trump. It was like, you can see it from space. It's going to be the most amazing, beautiful, super tall. And every time somebody complains about it, the wall grows 10 more feet. That was it in the beginning. No stopping the limits. The sky wasn't the limit for this wall.
Yeah.
And Mexico is going to pay for it and like all this stuff. Right. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
I'm not gonna lie. If we had a Great Wall of China as our like
as the wall
built like that as our wall, I'd probably be down.
That'd be great for tourism.
Yeah, you know how fucking cool that would be.
That'd be awesome.
Like it was just a fucking wall going through the desert. Like I don't know. Like
with plumbing, so along the way you can just take a break and hang out, have a cafe on top somewhere.
That'd be so. This is just like a tourist attraction. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, we're gonna have so many people coming to the wall just to hang out. It's gonna be great.
Have you seen the wall? How it in San Diego? How it goes and then just kind of disappears into the ocean?
Yeah, I used to live down there in Chula Vista, right on the edge, man. It was like, and I was on like one of the not a ground floor apartment, so I could sort of see Mexico. I could see TJ, sort of the lights and stuff. Here's the wall I want. I want a wall that's like one of those like glass window prison things where you can have a cafe that is separated by the wall in the middle and you can hang out with people on the other side and just chat. It's like, yeah, you can't come through, but we can be friends. What's up?
You want one of those like plexiglass prison walls.
Yeah, but like in a cafe setting where like the tables you can hang out, like the COVID fences that people made, right? Remember the COVID fences?
Oh, I know.
I thought you said co-ed.
No, people were making fences where it like turned from a fence into a table and they could hang out with their neighbor at a distance.
That's like the most natty boo-boo thing. Like you're gonna go set up a fucking bistro table.
Yeah.
All these people are trying to jump your fucking plexiglass. Like,
that's America, bro.
Yeah, that's basically what. Yeah, but I don't want to do that. That sounds mean. Like I feel like it would be cool
maybe it's mean.
Yeah. If we could pass stuff back and forth, then like I'd be more open to it.
Like drugs?
Be like they give
fentanyl.
us an empanada and we give them, I don't know, they have better drugs than us. Something else. What's something that we have that they want?
Mushrooms?
Jobs?
Jobs.
How are we gonna give them jobs through a hole? Like the whole point.
Let them through the hole.
Well, okay. Well, that's like another thing that you can obviously do. Yeah,
donut holes could go through the hole.
Yeah, we'll give them donuts and they'll give us empanadas. That sounds fair. Pass them back and forth. I want a good empanada now. Fuck. I got a craving for pizza yesterday. Oh, today's gonna be a rough day.
It's gonna be a day, man. It's gonna be a day like that.
So I haven't thought this through, but the idea of having my own city, I'm thinking maybe I would like have it on a giant pole that's like 1,000 feet up into the air, and if we got overpopulated, we would just vote somebody off.
Just push them off.
I love the idea. I love the ambitions of like you going. Never thought about this before, but this is how I'd construct a city.
Like,
Like
if I had
I'm
a
not gonna
city,
lie,
I'd kill people.
City planner.
that's like how DC and like Baltimore were like created. Manhattan's on this beautiful grid system. I love it. You go to other places, it's like, oh, we just have circles within circles. It's awful.
Have you ever been to Salt Lake? Salt Lake
I haven't been to Salt Lake,
is
no.
definitely well done, well placed. You know, everything is numbered and that kind of
But then
thing.
you got to live
Now,
in Utah.
McAllen, Texas is a good one. They do birds for their street names, and
Oh,
they're
yeah, okay.
alphabetized. So, you know, like
Okay.
Canary, and then there's
They're
Dove.
just trying to avoid the alphabet city thing.
Yeah, so the alphabet city, but they're birds in one direction, and then there's states, I believe, in the other direction.
Gotcha. Yeah. You go to places that are flat, and it's usually the grid system. You go to places that have hills and stuff, and it's a little bit different.
That's what I
Hills
hate
and
about-
rivers, and it's crazy.
I hate Tampa so much. Like none of their streets make any sense.
Tampa's one that I
and-
don't like. Yeah,
And it goes all the way across the damn city. Like
as far as the
Bears
roads go.
Avenue is like 12 miles long. Like, how am I supposed to know where to go on this? And then you give me another freaking like weird ass last name to compare it to. Like,
You know,
good.
George Foreman, you know, he named all of his children the same name, right? George or something like that,
Is
right?
that true? Is that happened?
I don't know. Well, let's
feel
just suppose it's true.
I
Okay.
feel like he named all of his grills the same name. I don't know
Yeah.
about his
No,
grills.
I believe
Like,
you. I'm just like
imagine
I'm not
his
saying that
family
you're wrong.
wants to create a city, and they're going to say, well, this street is George, and then it bisects George, and you know, because
Oh, that's perfect, because if his kids are all named the same, it's probably George the
Yeah,
second,
we
the
name
third,
our
the fourth.
streets
So the
after-
streets could just be Second Street, Third Street, Fourth Street, and it's just the different Georges.
yeah, George 1, George 2. I think that would work. I haven't thought it through yet, but I think it could work.
Oh,
I'm looking up his kids right now because this is weird.
Just
if
look up
that's
George. Yeah.
I did. All right, children.
Now we're gonna find out.
Yeah. I was thinking of that because, you know, if I named the streets, I'd be
Okay, he did. Oh God.
officially.
Yeah. So Foreman has 12 children, 5 sons and 7 daughters. His 5 sons are George Jr., George the Third, George the Fourth, George the Fifth, and George the Sixth. On his Foreman explains, I named all my sons George Edward Foreman, so they would always have something in common. I say to them, if
So
one
they'd
of them
always have
goes
something
up,
in common.
if one of
Forget
them goes
blood.
up, then we all go up together, and if one goes down, we all go down together. As with his father, George the Third, was pursued a career boxing entrepreneurship, whatever. Appeared on the second season of, I guess George the Fourth was on American Girl, the TV show, and then he's got daughters, and none of them are named George.
I knew a guy
I guess
named
the wife said, "Hey, all right, I'm drawing the line here."
One of them is Georgetta, but
That's the
about it.
favorite.
Georgetta. That's creative. What's the most interesting or weirdest or atypical or surprising name of a person you've known or met in real life? I've got a bunch because I met a lot of people in the Navy and we all wore our last names on our shirts and stuff. But
The
wondering if you
weirdest,
guys,
the most interesting last name.
yeah,
Trump for me.
Trump, just Trump. For example, I went to electronics school with a guy named Mars Millennium Falcon Star Cruiser. Legal name on his birth certificate. His dad named him that,
Yeah.
which I thought was awesome. Right? I was like, I think. Luckily, he was a fan of Star Wars as well. I think he
Can you
kind of had to
imagine the
be.
guy buying a car and he's now in the finance department? Okay, sir. So what's your name here? You'll need this formal application. No, really, I need your real name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was an ET. I was going through fire controlman school, which shared some of the same classes and stuff.
That's-
And his dad was a huge, obviously, Star Wars fan. Star Cruiser apparently was Skywalker's name in the script originally before it was Skywalker, is what I'm told.
yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
Some trivia facts for the Star Wars lair. There was a question about that actually in today's episode notes.
Question: are Skywalkers and Skinwalkers related?
No,
I don't think so, man.
completely different movies.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine like smashing X-Files and Star Wars together?
See, I was thinking like on the Navajo
Somebody's done it.
reservation or
Oh, those like Skinwalker Ranch,
yeah, the real ones.
the real
real
ones. Yeah,
ones.
yeah, the real ones, not the fictional ones. Yeah, well, the real ones, man, I don't know. Those are
We need gravity
interesting.
grab.
Yeah.
You could
Just
But
write
yeah.
down all the questions and we'll ask him when he comes back in a big list.
So we'll get into Star Wars in a minute. There's a question, I think, from Juicy J, or a reply or a suggestion about how do we assemble all the Star Wars fans to make the Star Wars layer into something that's interesting and unique and cool.
I
So we'll
thought
talk
about
that.
if like the Star Wars layer, let's say, became like an encyclopedia and there was a great search function, people would, hey, you know where you can get a lot of
Totally.
good information about Star Wars? You got to go to Den.Social. What's Den.Social? Forget what Den.Social is. That's where you can search information on Star Wars.
That's kind of what I was thinking, actually, because if it's like, if you may, let's say you have a post about even an individual character, and then under that post you have a dialogue and debate and conversation about that character.
Mhm.
You know, how they were written versus how they were acted versus how they, you know, what does it mean to the Jedi religion that this character did that, or that, you know, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
That
Or
would be really cool.
obscure facts that most people wouldn't know, and then that would be posted somewhere else and say, how is that true? Well, I'm link it to Den.Social, and then Den.Social would link it to the actual, you know, obscure fact about, you know.
Yeah, because that's kind of the question, is like, what for a community who has already got forums, they've already got, you know, like social media groups and stuff. Like they've probably all got what they need. Wikipedia, boom, they got Wikipedia. I forgot about Wikipedia. How can I forget about that? That is, I've used that a lot in the past, and it's detailed. It's good.
Yeah.
It's almost as good. I shouldn't say almost, for fan bases that might be competitive. It's almost as good as the Elder Scrolls one. What is that one called? It's called something like the Elder Scrolls Pages, but it's a wiki for Elder Scrolls. They got stuff like that. So it would need to be something where you would flex what Den has, I guess, that they don't have. That's the approach that I would think. Is like, what can you do on Den that isn't as well laid out on those other ones? Why would it be interesting? Maybe the forum aspect, where it's like a combination of Wikipedia with Wikipedia is not rewarded. That's probably what Den's got, right? Is a way to reward people for contributing.
But Wikipedia already has all the information, and
Yeah, I
is a
know.
place that people go to, and it's got a cool name.
Yeah, it does.
So honestly, I think you're trying to fight the wrong fight there, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's your
I don't
idea,
know.
John? You got a good one?
To
You don't
make
have to
this-
think it through like I always do.
To make this Star Wars layer bumping. Is that like, what's the goal? Is the goal to make the Star Wars layer bumping?
People,
Yeah, I think so.
Bumping.
Any layer really is the sort of like big question. Any specific layer, but as an example, the Star Wars layer.
Well,
I would
go ahead.
go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, my approach is usually just to not be not people don't like to feel like someone's pushing something on them, so you have to kind of just, let's say you share an interesting link to, there's a conversation on Reddit in Star Wars or something, and you can say like, oh, well, these people over here are saying this, this, and this, and you share the link to Den without saying, go join Den, go sign up for the Star Wars layer, just to have it in a peripheral, like, oh, this exists.
Yeah.
It's the slow way, but it's the organic way.
I mean, like, what I would do to get any layer going, not just the Star Wars layer, is you have to like create like decent content. You have
There you
to
go.
give people a reason to go there. So I would pay somebody literally just to make content for it. Like, what are the most successful layers? And if you look at it, it's like the Den, like literally the most successful layers are the Den layer and the World Blockchain Roundtable layer, right?
Yeah.
Those get the most, like, even
Mm-hmm.
compared to Creature Comfort and and Amazing Views in photography. I think more people are interacting and using more energy in those layers than in like photography and stuff like that, which already have like plenty of content, right? So I would look at what those places are doing and emulate that. So like I would give like layers a show, and I would like hype them on other like social media platforms. Like Den should be going, hey, check out the Star Wars layer. We got this. Like they should be posting like 5 times a day and every day using like hyping a different layer, right? Because we're at the point where we're not even at we're at like education, but we're also at like adoption and like just telling people it's out there. So like if we're not we're not constantly hyping each other and like spreading the word, then like we really can expect it to grow at anything other than, as you call it, an organic pace. But what I'm not hiring robots to be people, so I would say my way is also organic as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is organic. I wasn't thinking of that actually, because I was thinking of something else, I guess. But you're right. If we had a, like, even if somebody made like who was skilled with After Effects or something, who wanted to make videos and then post them in the Star Wars layer, and they were good, but they were posted there at least first, you know, to your point about content. Or there was like, if you had enough friends that were really into Star Wars that you wanted to once a month even meet up and talk about it on the Star Wars layer, stuff like that.
You need somebody that's like, so the problem is that there's no one. We've talked about this so many times, so like I'm fine to move on to a different subject whenever, but I mean, like there has to be a higher incentive to bring in quality content, because when you're mining matter and matter's sharing at not even a penny, then like it's not super worth it. Like, yeah, I'll post my stuff here, but I'm also going to post everywhere else.
Yeah.
And that's going to get like, and when I go read the comments, I'm going to go read the comments over there because people are interacting more there. Like even if I made $1 a post or $2 a post here on Den, it's not going to be worth it just for the interaction that I'm getting in other places.
Yeah, it's definitely not profitable until it's like a bunch of people are using it. And then the problem of a bunch of people aren't going to use it until it's profitable, that sort of dynamic.
So
then the scarcity principle comes into play because the value of MTR goes up. I mean, you can actually map, now that we had that one total, you could actually map active users to value of MTR. There's a correlation there, but
yeah, I haven't correlated.
So it's a matter of, it's the cart before the horse or whatever, but and the scarcity of the value of the MTR. But my other suggestion, and I haven't thought this one through yet either, but maybe we should have a balloon campaign and put a bunch of flash drives on these balloons that drop over with DIN links.
Oh yeah, there you go. Guerrilla advertising. I'm a big fan of guerrilla advertising.
And tear down that firewall. We
just
Trump walls,
tear down the firewall. There's like the guerrilla advertising stuff is fun, and it does work actually. Like I've seen it work for local bands and stuff, at least, It
has to work, but then you have to be a good band. Like you
can't
be like, yo, come check out my shit. And then it's like, sure, I'll come check it out. And they look at it, it's like,
yeah, that's shit, all right.
Well, I get like, you know what I mean? I can't right click links. Like, what's going on?
Like, yeah, and that's a band. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. Like, honestly, like, especially like,
Juicy J's post is good.
Yeah. Especially with like the reach that a lot of these people already have. Cause like in like other social media platforms, like we should be hyping and getting people excited about stuff happening here more than just like posting about the 4 shows that happen on Den. And I don't even think they post for Coffee with Den. So 3 shows or whatever it is.
Something that something that is related to adoption and people using Den and things like that, that took me way too long to realize is I've got Juicy J's comment up here. The layer should have a share option. That way we can share the layer itself and they can scroll down the posts.
Can we do that?
So here's the thing. And this is like probably something that everybody else realized way before I did. But how do I even put this? Like people, all right, I don't want to offend anybody, but I feel like this might have a tendency. Like I'm not trying to call anyone dumb here. Here's what I'm trying to say though. People don't know how to use computers like I thought they were going to. Like whenever I saw how computers were going, we're kind of like the last sort of generation to live through that, to know the before times, how things were before computers. And so growing up with computers and the internet coming out and being commonplace in houses and things like that, until recently, I just thought people knew how to use computers now, which is pretty true, more or less. But like young adults today are often worse than old people at knowing how to use a computer, because we've gone into this phones and tablets and touchscreens, and I have a Denny's menu and I just press the food item that I want kind of thing. Right. Yeah. And like, that's fine. It's just not the way that I thought it was going to go. I thought we were going to have this, like everybody had this computer or a laptop or tool anyway that used the internet with web browsers, and you could have the information superhighway and exits all over the place, and bookmarks in your browser and all that stuff. And that's the reason I didn't realize that it shifted away from that, was that's still how I use a computer, right? That's how I use my phone. I use the browser on my phone for Twitter, for Den, stuff like that. And so all that is just to say, like, yeah, there's not actually a button to share the layer on Den. And one of the reasons there's not a button to share the layer is like, I just forget that everyone doesn't think, like I think a few of us on that were in on the design initially were like, yeah, it's a website. You can share it. You go to the top, copy the link, copy, and then there you share that. Now you've shared the layer. Like if I wanted to share the Den layer, here's what I would do. I would go to the Den layer, and at the top it's Den.Social /L/Dragon Den. I would just copy that, boom. And then I would say, like, check out this link or check out this thing here.
Yeah.
But that's like not normal anymore for people to intuitively do.
We're in a TikTok world.
Yeah, kind of, right? And so even to the point where, like, if I tell someone to go, and I watch people do this in front of me when I'm explaining to them, like, hey, do this. I'll say, yeah, just go to Den.Social, Den.Social is the address. And they'll go to like Google and they'll go to Den.Social, Den.Social. And they'll be like, okay, what is the, and it's just not the flow that I am thinking that, people go to a search engine first and that kind of thing, or they don't know how to use the URL bar to copy an address, or they don't even understand how a URL is structured, right?
Right.
Like Den.Social, that's the domain. L, Coffee with Den, the post itself. It's like you click on your own name, right? You have this is your user ID. People don't care about what that is. It's a bunch of gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Well, I get you.
So that's one of the reasons that I don't think it was thought of to have a button. Like you go to Coffee with Den, and there's no button to share it. And you go to someone's profile page like mine, there's no button to share it. We should have those. We have a share button on posts right here, right? Gives you a reference link, gives you a little referral that you can actually make, some matter rewards from if you share it. It lets whoever clicks on it, it gets credited to your account. We should do that for the layers, for the individual accounts and things like that. So yeah, there it's, a little bit
more focused on sharing externally outside of Den needs a bigger incentive. And like John's point, the value of MTR has a point. And not to be offensive to being, numbers go up guy, but that's that is what the world is. You know, what makes the world go around is money, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I've got to remind myself of that because I
And
just
my
don't.
favorite
I'm kind of a
quote-
weird person.
Well,
I think I don't know.
My favorite quote is, the man from Oracle, Warren Buffett, his number one guy who controlled his massive empire, always said, "Show me the incentive, and I'll show you the outcome."
Mhm.
And there has to be the incentive for the outcome. If there is no incentive, there is no outcome, and that's a numbers go up kind of functionality of society, unfortunately.
Well, there has to be. I think it doesn't have to necessarily be money because, like, look at Reddit, right? You
Look
don't
at
make
TikTok.
any.
Right.
Well, TikTok, you make money. Reddit, you make no money. People have a bajillion fucking Reddit points and all their gold stars and stuff. It doesn't mean anything. It's social clout. It's whatever it is. But there's none of that in Den either. So there's
That's a
no.
really good example because Reddit in the beginning was more like you had to know how to use Markdown, for example. There was no easy button for like creating a link. You had to know, put the word you want to be highlighted in brackets and then put the link right after it in whatever,
Right.
the round brackets, whatever,
It's like
parentheses.
It's like when we had MySpace and we had to learn to code kind of thing. So we
Yeah.
could build our own MySpace.
Yeah.
But
MySpace taught people rudimentary HTML.
But like, so what I was saying is that like we have to find. It's not like we have to give them money. There has to be value. Reddit has like good value also of like so many people conversing on a topic, good ideas.
Yeah, the mind share itself is valuable.
That's
Accessing that mind share.
That's why people go there. People don't go to Wikipedia because they make money. It just has value. So we have to find value here, and this is a social site. So there has to be a way to give people value, and just the value isn't super high unless you're in like particular niche things such as World Blockchain Roundtable, and stuff like that. Like the photography layers, like I can go to a lot of places and look at pictures. I don't have to go to Den.L/photography.
Yeah.
But I can talk with the people that took the picture. And that's why I think like those layers do kind of well.
Good point.
Is that there's actual conversation back and forth on it a little bit.
Yeah, especially if it's like right now, kind of the best original content we have in the photography layer seems to be a few people's camera roll from their cell phone or something, but that's original content. It is photography. It's on topic. And I do think that there could be more conversation about the photos. Where was it? Why do you think it was interesting? Is this the first time you went there? Do you live in the mountains and that you were visiting, or it's some sort of like, I don't
Connection,
know. I don't think those posts are spam, but I do think that there could be a little bit more to them. But then also I think it's kind of like there isn't necessarily better content than that. So I can't justify like necessarily downvoting it.
Yeah.
Unless
I'm
something better to
doxing
vote
myself,
up.
gentlemen, but it's 8:37 and my timer just went off. I've been here
Go.
for 30 minutes. I want my damn lot.
Yeah,
All
you got
right,
10 of
got
them, I
you.
think. All right, man. I'll see you later. Have a good
I
one.
appreciate you guys. I'll be
Yeah,
listening
absolutely.
in the car.
Yeah,
Have
sure.
fun.
And tell Gravity Crab I need answers about the Grand Canyon aliens that created Egypt.
We'll let them know.
We got to talk about that in the history layer.
But I appreciate you both. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
And
Likewise.
everyone else.
Adios.
Have a good
Have
day.
a good day.
You too.
Yeah.
I wanted to say
Go ahead.
while we're on that subject though, sometimes like I'll realize there's some really stupid shit that wasn't thought of, and it's nobody's fault except like, maybe we should do that. That's a big deal. One of those is right now. You know how we have the new login system?
Yeah.
So that's working now. A few people had issues with it, but those were, I think, resolved. I don't think there's any outstanding issues there with people being able to access their accounts. What I didn't find out until this morning, because I never thought to check, and none of us thought to check because we all have accounts already, right?
Yeah.
But there wasn't, once we switched over to the new login, we kind of just forgot to add the page that lets you sign up for a new account. So like that's getting fixed right now, this morning. But I
it's
was
been
just
like
like,
it's been like 3
oh,
weeks of nobody being
yeah,
able to sign up for an
right,
account.
exactly. And I noticed yesterday I was posting the leaderboard, right? And I didn't make the connection at all. I just thought like, oh, new accounts slowed down. I guess whatever. Where is it? Let me bring it up again. So I published this yesterday, and all the names are clickable now. By the way, I figured out. Pardon the formatting arrow where it rolls off the right hand side, but made all the names clickable so you can check out who's who in there. But whenever I did the metrics on new posts, new accounts, so there's this year. Last month we had 42 new accounts. This month, which we're at the end of, there's 24 new accounts, and I was like, oh. Well, we got half as many new accounts this month over last month. I guess last month people were more interested in joining Den than they were this month. Not the case. We turned off fucking signups on accident, which is something that's like we need community input for, and that's how we found out. If somebody emailed and was like, "Hey, there's not a sign up button. What the hell?" And we were like, "Oh." Like this morning, I was reading internal some of the back end, and people were like, "Oh, they're right. There isn't one. We should probably have one of those. My bad." And so, yeah, we're fixing that. But things get dropped like that. And so whoever that was, thanks for looking out, because that's why those numbers are like they are. So, yeah, there's plenty of stuff like that we got to pay attention to. But I wanted to throw that out there just in case anybody else knew about it. It's getting fixed now.
I just think it's funny that I am Fran was like, what if one matter is worth $100? I'm like, yeah, great. What if?
Well, how does that
you
happen?
wouldn't be able to exchange it anyway because you can't exchange matter on Uniswap anymore, so it doesn't matter.
No, you can. That's the dragon thing.
Oh, that's old. Well, whatever it is. So I think it's Hyperion Frequency says, I'm with John. We need some BS novelty tokens that's meaningless that people can amass in tons that it's just symbolic. Well, like what's cool in Den is that it's not just like a BS novelty token, it's a real token. But like there's no value in massing them. Also, we don't show how much matter you have. So I'm not like, this is Dave loved my thing. Like,
oh, like the karma thing, you mean?
Yeah.
An analogy for that?
Like karma and Den. Like it doesn't matter because it doesn't get shown. It doesn't like really make a difference. It doesn't even show which way you vote on things or if you even voted on things. It doesn't show that Dave gave me 1,000 matter or like liked it 1,000 matter, whatever the fuck it is. Like it's completely anonymous, which is cool. But then there's like it removes that social aspect of the platform.
That's one of the things we do have. One of the items that is on the to-do list is proof reports, where you can actually expose that information after it's been. So the idea right now is to keep it to where you can't see who's voting and what direction they're voting until like maybe a day later, so that you can see who voted after the fact. And maybe not influence people's votes during the fact kind of thing. But there is plans to have that proof report where it does show who voted in which direction and stuff like that. And the other thing is one of the cool things about tokens like Matter, of course, but other tokens like Matter too, is that it's a utility token, what's called a utility token.
Yeah.
And the reason that that's useful is because even if it's worth 0 out on the market, like even if you could never exchange it for anything, you can still use it for things like in the platform itself. One of the strategies for keeping bots out is to just make it too expensive for them to operate. Part of that comes from the way we allow people to grow their influence on Den. And a lot of that comes through the Matter token, where the Matter token is something that you earn that gives you more of a voice. Like you can interact more. The more matter you have, you can use that because it produces energy, right? The more matter you have, the more energy you have. So there's value. The utility value of it remains regardless of the monetary value. It also generates lore, which you can use to vote on layers, which you use to get lot, which you can use to get matter, et cetera, et cetera. So there's this whole like machine that it's a cog in, and the cogs still work. Even if you can't buy and sell the cogs still work if you earn them. So there is that. You mentioned the delisting though. I wanted to hit on that real quick, if you don't mind, since it's a question in the
Delisting?
thing. Yeah, you mentioned not being able to buy tokens.
Oh, okay.
So Alexins says the trending topic of the week is dragons delisting from KuCoin, but it's better to change the subject in the end. Not much, so much information about the same thing saturates. So yeah, a lot of people are talking about this. This is why I wanted to talk about it, because it's an interesting topic to people on Den. I was thinking last night, it's like, how do you sum up what happened there to like the average person who might not even know or care about blockchain or cryptocurrency or how any of that works? And here's what I came up with. You know how, and I'll just explain this to you, John, and see if it works for you. You know how, Cash App, right?
Yeah.
And you know how on Cash App you can buy Bitcoin pretty easily? Like it's one of the like low friction ways to buy Bitcoin. You can buy Bitcoin a bunch of different ways, right? You can buy it from a person or whatever. But if you just like, I want an easy button, get Cash App, you can get Bitcoin. Boom, right? Easy peasy. And there's other apps like PayPal that let you buy other cryptocurrencies as well. Recently, they've like enabled other crypto things. And so there's an app like that called KuCoin, where you can buy Dragon tokens for Dragon Chain, among all kinds of other stuff, Bitcoin also, stuff like that. And so that app recently, this week, they stopped offering the Dragon Chain token as one of the things that you can buy on the app. And that's basically it. So that's like the most compressed explanation that I can get to about what happened. So a lot of people have different opinions about what that means or the implications of that, but that's the objective what happened kind of thing. And people are kind of freaking out about it some places. Other people aren't freaking out about it. And there's a lot of like back and forth about what it means for the company kind of thing, which, by the way, the company never asked for it to be listed there in the first place. It was never part of the like something that was necessary. So yeah, it sucks that it's not there anymore because it is easy. But yeah, it's not as easy to get anymore. So the Dragon tokens are on like one other exchange. And then I wanted to offer whoever wants to collaborate on doing this, we can actually create liquidity on the Uniswap pool too. If there's actual like interest in other people coming through to help with that, there's decentralized ways to do that, which is kind of the whole point. And that's the other thing I wanted to say. So there's what happened. But that's a centralized exchange, and this is decentralized technology. The centralized stuff is easier, right? That's the like legacy normal way of doing it because it's easy, right? You trust somebody else to do it for you, and you say, "Hey, buy this for me." That's the app centralized app way. But there is this thing called Uniswap that is not centralized, where if we want, we can just start trading Dragon tokens on it, and nobody can stop us. So just an open invite to anybody who wants to do that. I've got some tokens. We can put them on there. We can start trading them. We can offer them for trade, stuff like that. And then next thing you know, there's another market. So that's what I would suggest. And that's what happened. And if there's any questions about it, I don't know what they are, but ask them. I'll try to answer them. So what do you think about all that, John?
Makes sense to me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Next.
I feel like it wasn't that it's not that big of a deal.
Well, some people got mad. That's why, that's why I want to talk about
it.
Like, some people got actually mad, like angry, So.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. Yeah, that's fine. This weird site doesn't want to trade a weird coin. Like, all right, cool.
What else do we have in here then? Jacob Wayne left a note. My second choice in a social platform is that's on a blockchain is Hive. Hive's cool. I like Hive. I haven't actually ever had an account on there, but I have in the past had an account on Steemit. Steemit was one of the first like early blockchain-based social Reddit style networks. And actually some of the issues that Steemit had informed the design of Den. They got sort of taken over which was an interesting little piece of history. They had governance too that was based on tokens. You know how we have lot,
Yeah.
where you can vote on stuff. With Steemit, they had a DAO also that controlled Steemit, and the voting was based on a token that they had on their platform. And speaking of centralized exchanges like KuCoin's not the one that did this, but a centralized exchange where people were sending their Steemit tokens that they earned to like trade them and stuff. So everybody had accounts on this centralized exchange, which means that that exchange had a big giant bag of customer tokens because you put them in the exchange and then you can trade them. So because you have to put them in the exchange first, the exchange had access to them all. And then the exchange collaborated with somebody who wanted to purchase or take over that Steemit website. And they used customer funds to vote in the DAO to change like the leadership, basically.
Well, that's fucked.
Which was a pretty shady attack, in my opinion. So that's part of the reason that we do behavior-based governance on Den, where a lot of it's based on just your activity and your whether you're doing the things that are constructive or not, or how much you've been around helping, that kind of thing. So anyway, yeah, Hive's out there. Hive's cool. I have some stuff that's on the Hive blockchain, but I don't have a Hive account. But it doesn't have the cozy vibe of Den, probably because Den's got fewer people. So it's like a cozy living room with friends.
I'll have to check out some of these other ones and report back or something. That'd be funny.
Mm-hmm. We can talk about that in like in the lair if you want, or in the chat room. Nobody uses the chat rooms. We should probably do that more. All right, so what else? I think it's hard to connect to Hive, but on some neat publishing tools, I always like to host my images there when making long Den posts. Example. Let's look at the example. And then 1 of 10 Hive posts of my images. Let's look at that too. So Metaverse. Okay. So on Den, there's 2 ways to attach images. One of them is like actually attaching it to the post, where there's a button to do it. So here's an image that's attached that way, but you can embed them inside the post as well. When you do that, you have to have them hosted somewhere else, though.
Yeah.
And so some people will use like Google Drive, and some people use, I don't know, Flickr or whatever. Or you can just find something that's hosted anywhere and copy the link and use that to shove it into a post. But none of those things are on a blockchain, which means it's easier for them to go away, or for them to be like changed and stuff. So what Jacob Wayne is saying is he uses Hive's blockchain because you can upload and store images there. He uses that to host them, and then he links to that into a Den account.
Very cool.
So that's a good strategy. I've done that before.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work to post something, but
yeah, there is sort of that too. Speaking about like things Den could improve, there's a lot of things you can do on Den that there isn't like an easy button to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's how I make those like tables and stuff whenever I post the metrics. Where is it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So like you can't make these with the buttons that are available. Like if I made a new post.
Yeah.
But you can make those if you go to markdown mode, right?
And then you embed the picture.
Yeah. So if I go over here and I just grab this random image from Hive and I copy the image link, and then I come back over here. Where is it? Where was I? Here. Like you just, and this is the limitation, is the learning curve. We have to have a button for this. If we don't, you can, if you know how to do it, you can put in the markdown code that references that picture, which looks like that, because I just copied it. And you go back to preview and it brings in the image, right? So there's a bunch of stuff that Den has the capability to do, but it's just, there's no button here to do that. Yeah. There needs to be a button up here that says attach image, and it says what image, and you paste in the, just like the link button, you know?
I agree. Fucking Medium does that too. Like the blog site. It's
Mhm.
like everything's in markdown mode. So when you copy and paste your like whatever you write into it, you then have to go through and reformat it because they don't have like certain formatting options. It's a pain in the ass. Like using bullet points is just like not a thing there.
Yeah,
It's a crazy amount of work.
if you do a lot of writing though, um, here's what I would recommend: like a dedicated piece of software that does markdown writing, like as like authoring, so that you can
Yeah,
then just copy the markdown over. So I use one called Joplin. Have you heard of Joplin?
I have. Thing is that like most of my stuff, I like to write it first in like a Google Doc. Like
Yeah,
that's just like my go-to, or like screenplays and stuff I'm writing in Final Draft. I'm not gonna write in
in Markdown. Yeah.
in a Markdown mode because I need it in Final Draft. So it's just kind of more like like a dumb system.
So
But
you would need something that takes like a Google Doc, for example, that has links and images embedded and stuff like that and formatting and
yeah.
converts that to Markdown, basically.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, sweet.
No, I just got tickets for the late night show with Seth Meyers,
Oh, far out.
but it's for today.
Oh, you better
And
hurry up and get there.
no,
They film early, right?
it's at 2 p.m.
Oh, okay.
But I have something else I was supposed to do today at 4. Fuck. We'll see.
I like
I
Seth
ca-
Meyers a lot. I've been watching since I kind of like became a fan of his during when he was on Weekend Update on SNL.
Yeah.
And then
I like him a lot too. And like my writing style fits with him a lot too. That's why I like him. Just the way I structure jokes is similar. So he's easier for me to write for. But yeah.
this is the it's probably too small to see on the screen right now. Oops. But this is basically how it looks. Like if you don't want to learn like all the little markdown things, there are apps where you can write it and you have tools like this one does have like an add image button at the top that Den doesn't have. So I just wanted to show this. What I do typically is I'll write something in Joplin and then I'll copy the markdown itself into the markdown mode of Den. And then that's
cool.
how I get all the pretty formatting and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So no, Seth Meyers is great, dude. I've been I think I told you recently, I've been like really appreciating certain art forms more than I ever have in the last few years. One of those is comedy and humor and stuff like that. I like watching his. Do you watch Corrections? Seth Meyers Corrections.
His like bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's like a weekly ongoing thing.
Yeah.
And it's like completely separate from his show and everything. And I don't know. Sometimes I'll just watch Corrections because I like watching like what people, because it's a lot of it's, of course they only choose the ones that are fun. A lot of none of the weird, angry messages, but it's like him and the audience fucking with each other back and forth, like taking jabs at each other. It's pretty fun. So anyway, all right, what do we got here? Can you type the name? Can you bring up the other side? Oh, Joplin? You talking about Joplin, Hype Freak? Yeah, Joplin.
When you Google Joplin, it's the first thing that comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not super hard to find.
There's a bunch of them. That one's the easiest to use, I think. There's one called Ghostwriter. Not writer, not like the skull flame Nicolas Cage guy. Yeah, and some other ones too. But anything, or just go look for Markdown editing software apps. They're free. It's cool.
All right. So what if this was a thing? I'm trying to figure out how to make money, right? And and just imagine this being a thing. People want the value of Den to go up, right?
Yeah,
They
let's
want
talk
more
about it.
people interacting, and they want the value of what's happening. They want like their particular layer, right, to get more hyped. What if there was like a Patreon, right, for like $5 a month? Are you giving me a thumbs up or him? Him a
Him,
thumbs up.
him.
Yeah,
Without
that's
trying to, I was trying not to interrupt you, but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. What if like for $5 a month, right? You do that. You give to fucking Patreon, and that Patreon's job is to grow Den by creating content, right? So like
Mhm.
having in like the people that are on the Patreon get to decide what's created, right?
Yep,
So like, oh,
I'm
like,
feeling you. Yeah.
right. So basically, it's somebody that it's like the people that are on Den are spending US dollars to make the value of their like matter go up.
Mhm.
So like let's say their matter goes up by like 5%, right? They're gonna make a lot more money, or not 5%, like quadruples or something, right? Because that's when you're trading at like less than a penny, then like it's gonna be pretty, like if you can be trading at a penny, it'll be nice. Or if you're trading at 10 cents, like you'll make money.
Right.
So yeah, what if that could be interesting?
Yeah, so I've thought about that a little bit. Basically like um paying creators to create content on Den so that there's more to offer, there's more interesting stuff that's
It's
from
kind of
somebody
like
whose whole job it is to create interesting
it's
content.
kind of like paying influencers,
Mhm.
but instead of it being paid for by a corporation that's going to be using it as like spam to buy your product, it's paying influencers um to just get more people to your site.
Yeah, I would support that. I would sign up for that. And I would probably sign up for it a couple of times and add some money into it.
Yeah, well, you could have
Um,
like tiers, right? And then I think basically what I would do if I were to do this also is then create my own layer for subscribers.
mhm.
And then the way it works is you give like different levels of subscription entitles you to more or less lot. So you could buy
Mhm.
lot for every dollar is like fucking 10 lot or $100
Mhm.
lot or something like that, right?
Yep.
So if you donate $5 a month, that's 500 lot, right? But there's
Yep.
100,000 lot created, so you're not super high up there. And then every month you get another however many lot.
Yeah, I like, now nobody's done that obviously, but that's something that you can do right now actually.
Yeah,
And the way that I would think that you would do that is that you would create a private layer, which we have plenty of, like that people use for different things right now. So you can create a private layer that's invite only, meaning you only
yeah,
get access to it if you are in this model, in this case, a paying member, right? And then within that layer, you can collaborate and talk to your community about what content should be made, where it should be made, that kind of thing.
yeah,
And then you could even make it to where, let's say you have a monthly subscription with the tiers and stuff. You can make it to where every month that you pay your subscription fee, you mint X number of lot, right? So the lot would grow, but your percentage would be based on how many times you've paid the monthly subscription thing. In
yeah,
other words, you could make it to where people that have been there longer paying would end up with more lot. Sort of like coffee with Den. We mint lot based on participation every episode.
yeah.
You could do
And
the
then
same thing with a subscription, a paid, like, even they could cash app you. It doesn't matter how they pay for it.
yeah, World Blockchain Roundtable does the same thing too.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Exactly.
They mint
Yep.
more than they get out what they minted.
Yep. So you could do that, and then that would give you a private forum. You could even post like a draft of something in that private layer so that people can, pick it apart and say, no, this is not what we want. Do this instead before you posted it over in the public
Yeah, I'm
stuff
not
like
going to
that.
do that.
I was throwing out ideas on what you could use a private layer for, but yeah, a Patreon style private layer.
Do that idea. Hey, let me run by this. Let me run my fucking post by all these random people that have different ideas about what they want. And half of them, this is a Star Wars post, and half of them haven't seen fucking Star Wars, but they want to give me their 2 cents on it and then feel entitled to tell me what's right and what's wrong about it because their uncle saw Star Wars one time and they went to Disney World. Yeah.
Point taken.
I'll post it and then they can give me fucking notes.
Point taken, and I'll backpedal on that. You're right. I guess I was picturing a bunch of professional writers collaborating. That's not what it would be.
No. This is like, well, like, because I was like, I don't know. I thought that would be interesting. But then, like, when you do the math to make like any kind of income that's worth talking about, you need like 400 people at $500 a month.
Yeah. So here's what. So there's
we don't
that.
have 400 people.
Right. So there's that. There's also, the question of the I am right now in chat is talking about like the value of matter. Yeah, if the value of matter was higher and you could sustainably exchange it for ether without worrying about like the price going down or something like that. One of the ways that is achieved, and a lot of this comes from being at like with more people, just like you said, like needing more people, the horse before the cart or the chicken before the egg or whatever your analogy is, like the cold start problem, right? Where once the engine's running, it's easier than when it's still like fledgling, getting started. Anyway, whenever you have more people on the platform, you'll have more people that want to, for lack of a better word, advertise to those people or increase the visibility of their post, maybe to earn more. Even if you're not a company advertising a product, you might be somebody who's creating content and you want the most reward possible out of it. So you might actually invest a bit of matter as a boost, for example, either internally or externally. If you want to say like, hey, I'm putting a whole bunch of matter on this for anybody who shares it to other websites, because that's the thing too. The reason that that's important is because that's one of the things that would drive people to, for example, go to Uniswap and purchase matter. If they were like, hey, I need to have an advertising budget basically for my boosts as part of my workflow, they might have a reason to buy matter to boost their own content, which would offset the people that are selling matter whenever they earn it on content. So different things like that, reasons for people to acquire matter outside of the reward system is what's going to balance that out. So it needs people for that, right? But the problem you're saying is like, how do you get the people, which is where your Patreon idea comes in.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, come check out this cool thing we're doing. Cool, what are you doing? Well, there's nothing. Oh, nobody's posting this layer in 2 months. What's this conversation look like? What's going on?
Yeah, there's a lot of like available space.
Yeah.
On Den, right? There's a bunch of categories of forums that you could post in. But I would say like, I don't know, where's that layers chart? How many are actually being used for anything?
Exactly. We've all heard me go rant about layers before, so I don't think this is a new idea.
No, I like the Patreon style thing though. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, because like that's the thing is like Den doesn't have the money and isn't gonna put like money. I feel like that might also even go against like a moral thing of them paying somebody to use their website.
No, it's not a moral thing. It's here's that list. So here's the most active layers list. It's sorted from top to bottom based on like how much matter is mined inside of it, you know? So once you get down to like, so here's coffee, and then you get, well, I mean, there's some stuff. Yeah, I guess it's not as like there's some activity in more than I thought. But listen, what were we talking about? I had a thought and I broke my own train of thought. It's my fault. What was I just saying? Dang it, I had a point. I don't always have a point, but I did this time.
Gotta get on my ADHD medication, man. But yeah, like I think we could. I think we could be like trying
I know
to
what it was.
get some. All right, never mind. Go ahead. I was stalling until you came up with what
No,
it was.
yeah. So the thing about like this is what, for example, Rumble's getting really popular. Rumble reaches out and pays people to come over and create content on their platform. So there's something interesting to look at for people to go over there, right? So there's some to generate quality content that people want to watch or to listen to and things like that, right?
Yeah.
The problem with that approach, with the situation we're in with Den and with Dragon Chain, is that literally millions of dollars have been spent on just defending our right to exist, just trying to be allowed to exist. Imagine if we could have spent that money on something more productive, like hiring 5 full-time developers to rapidly implement the new features that people request on the roadmap and things like that. You know what I mean? Like paying a handful of content creators who are good at what they do to come into Den and create original content for Den. That would go a long way to bootstrap something like Den, but it's being wasted on lawyers and regulators and trying to explain to people who think it's something that it's not, that it's different than what they think it is, right? So I hate to use that as an excuse, but it's kind of what's going on. It's like, man, there's not the resources that we could have had. We had the resources, but we had to spend them on fucking lawyers. We had to spend it on like fighting the SEC, stuff like that, because Den and Dragon Chain share some of the same dev resources, the same people, and a lot of those people have been tied up with either like, you know, monetarily paying for legal defense, and functionally and like dev cycles and capacity wise, a lot of that does require like digging through records and seeing exactly, answering questions, what exactly happened here and there, and what, you know, so there's like a bunch of like bullshit that we're still having to do that prevents us from doing things that matter. And that's why like I kind of fly off the handle sometimes when it comes to talking about government and regulators and the SEC and stuff, because I just see how thoroughly they're like stopping innovation intentionally, you know, and their goal, their stated goal, they told Library this, in their case, this is the Odyssey platform is based on Library. They went through the SEC recently. They told them, if you fight us, we will bankrupt you. And that's what they've done. And so, I don't know, man. We're kind of up against that. And until that gets cleared up, I don't know how much we're going to be able to do until that's cleared up. Just as an like overall, everyone who's doing crypto stuff or blockchain stuff or software stuff in the United States, in the USA, is in that situation. So like, man, if we had, and this is okay, and so this is the last thing I'll say about that is like, if we had, like if the community wanted to take that role of crowdsourcing, crowdfunding a marketing campaign or something, there's nothing stopping anyone from doing that, right? We can't do it in a centralized fashion because the resources aren't there right now. But if we wanted to crowdsource and create, like the marketing layer could create a multi-sig account that had, you know, like 3 out of 5 people who owned it had to sign for something before it paid out to pay, you know, like creators to come to the platform or things like that. And if they wanted to make some sort of reward subscription system where people could donate to the community fund and get a proportional ownership or governance vote to direct it, you can do that right now. And I would help you do that. I would make a tutorial video on how to use a Gnosis safe for multisig. I would make a tutorial video on whatever you need a tutorial for. or just show up to a meeting and answer questions for anybody who had them. So it really is a situation where we're being tested in this sort of war between centralization and decentralization. We're being tested. Hey, if you cripple all these centralized ways of doing things, which is what's being done right now, right? Regulators are crippling the centralized components of this infrastructure. Then can the decentralization really win over? Will people really come together and use decentralization tools to solve the problems that regulators are creating in a centralized way? I think that's the test. And so that's going to have to be the way forward right now. Once the SEC is out of the way, once Ripple wins their case, hopefully they do. That would be great for the whole community. Once Dragon Chain wins their case, I think they will. I don't know. Who knows? They've got a lot going for them that Ripple don't have, that Library didn't have. Dragon Chain's case is interesting in a lot of ways. Once that's out of the way, maybe it's a different picture. Maybe we can like build things in America again. But right now, man, it's crazy right now. Like people are getting strong-armed and getting phone calls and getting like shut down and getting threatened to be ruined if they don't just like bend the knee. And it's all about different ways of writing software. It's all about different ways of solving problems. And the way that we're doing it, people don't like it. People don't want us to do it this way. And there's my rant. That's it. I'm done. I just wanted to put out the situation the way that I see that it is. So that's where we're at.
Great. How do you fix it?
Well,
You just
I think that well, you can wait. You can if you want. If you want to wait for somebody else to fix it, you can just wait. Or it's a learning curve, man. If we wanted to pool resources, we got to learn how to do it effectively. If we want to collaborate without a company at the center of it directing the show, then we got to figure out how to do that. We got to actually come together and talk about it, have meetings. Here's how it's going to work. Who's responsible for what role? Okay, like boom, you're in this capacity, you're in that capacity. Find people, volunteers who see the problem in the same way, who want to do something about it. That's the way forward. But we're so busy eating ourselves that's hard to do, right? Because we got a show tomorrow, for example, on World Blockchain Roundtable on climate. And I think that's fantastic because we're going to have like people who don't believe in climate change, maybe, I hope, and we're going to have people who want to, on the opposite end of that, who want to like have rules that are enforced that keep things clean and the air better. And we're going to have a whole lot of opinions that are clashing, I think. And the magic's going to be when that can happen in a way that we still get shit done. Even people that have dramatically different opinions on reality, if they can come together and do something together, that's the most magic thing that I could imagine, because the world's just tearing itself apart. I'm still ranting. I thought I was done with my soapbox, but I stepped back up on it. So yeah, I don't know. That's the way it has to. It's either going to get fixed by using the technology that is being fought against, or it's not going to get fixed. I think those are the two outcomes. Either this big decentralization push gets squashed in the US and it goes elsewhere instead, and no longer do we see like the US as the hub of innovation and progress and building stuff. We can do that, just ignore it and it'll go away. And we'll just be a, united Luddites of America and not want to use anything new that we don't like. Or we can say, no. The thing that the regulators are trying to stamp out, the things that the politicians are trying to get rid of, the things that the banks are paying people to write legislation to remove from our infrastructure, that's the very thing we have to use to fight back. Because if it's decentralized, if it's just like a mass of like swarming hornets with tools, it's hard to stop that. It's easy to stop like a company, but it's hard to stop kind of like a pseudonymous organization. All right, maybe I'm done now. Let me get some coffee. Let's roll. I don't know. I need a coffee now. I need to get a drink. Ranted a minute there. If you don't mind, I'm gonna roll like a little 30-second thing, and then we'll reconvene.
Sure.
All right. Sorry, I just once I started going there, man, I started just like and this and then another and another thing. So all right. So let's do a 1 minute. Let's do a tokenized rewards on Den. And then we'll come right back and we'll jump into something that's a little bit more lighthearted. But I'd love to carry this conversation on into the lair with a post and continue talking about it. Because the tools are there. And right now people are picking toys over tools, which is fun and that's fine. But I don't know. I like talking about tools because I'm a nerd. So here is I almost hate to do it again, but no, that's a 2-minute video. I don't want to do Gensler again. Here's tokenized rewards on Den.Social. Little ad spot. All right, be right back.
On social media platforms today, quality content often goes unnoticed. On Den, users get paid for the creation, evaluation, and curation of quality content. Content creators are rewarded based upon the engagement and reach of their post or comment. Content evaluators are rewarded based upon the speed and results of their predictions about which content will trend or go viral. Community owners are rewarded based on engagement within their community. On Den, quality content pays.
All right. Welcome back. I calmed down a little bit. So thanks for hearing my rant a little bit a minute ago. I'm just really irritated with the way things are being run and haven't talked about it in a while. So I think I just hit a release valve on that one.
Cool.
What else is going on?
I was looking at other websites for what the hell is one download? I don't know what that means. In comparison to Patreon. Thought that was funny.
DAO growth is a solution. I like that a lot. I like this one even more. Spark the blunt, Dave.
Yeah. We too bad we're not gonna be. It's like we're not gonna have a show on 420, right? We'll be 419, right? Yeah.
Is that right? Let me see.
Yeah, because World Blockchain Roundtable is 420.
We can do a special edition.
We can do. We can
in
do
a cannabis layer.
We can do an almost 420 show. Whatever happened to that fucking weed show you wanted to do, buddy?
Good question. So that is something that got put on sort of indefinite hold because I ran into some life obstacles.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. My dad died like right around that time. Right. And I'm fine talking about it now. But then I was just like, I kind of stopped everything. And then I picked up things that like one at a time to start like doing stuff again. But that was just one of those things that I realized like I'm not going to be able to do it well. And you know, and until I feel like I can, I'm not going to pick it up and do that. But that was a good idea. It was a good concept at least. And I had met with some people that were into it. And yeah, it was cool. So that's what happened with that is I just kind of didn't do it. But I like weed. I like weed. and shows.
And shows about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good stuff. Cool.
And then somebody else did it. I saw on Netflix. They had a like a cooking with cannabis show.
Yeah. I've definitely watched that.
So my work here is done. I put the idea out in the universe. Someone else did it.
Good job, Netflix. No, I was I don't know. I was looking at these sites that were like similar to Patreon or whatever
Yeah.
as things, because like I need more incentive to like keep doing the day-to-day shit that I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm like, oh, if I had like an external obligation to it, then I would feel more commitment to actually doing the things. You know, like I feel like I don't do shit unless somebody's watching.
It's a good way to get people to watch too. If they got skin in the game, it works both ways. Like if people start paying a Patreon channel for content, they're typically going to watch that content that they're paying for the person to create, right?
See, look at that. And they're typically going to share it because they're paying for it and they're telling other people how great it is.
Yeah. And one of the concepts of Den is if you get a cut of that person's rewards, like as a lot holder, you get a proportional cut of the whatever that layer makes, basically.
Yeah.
We want to do that for personal accounts too, personal lot. But if you, in theory, if you get a cut of like whatever it makes, you're going to want to make it do better as well. So
does this not sound like a giant pyramid scheme though?
Well, I've got that question a lot, man. And what I've realized is different people have different ideas of what a pyramid scheme is.
Because I feel like every business is just a business that you need more people to be in to be more successful, right?
So what do you do as a business is you hire people and you pay them less money than they make for you to do the job. Because if the people that you hired were making all the money, then the business wouldn't make any money.
Yeah.
Right.
And I need more people using my product in order for the value of my stuff to go up, which is just how everything works. If nobody's paying you to be an electrician, you'll be a cheap electrician when people offer you jobs. But if everybody's trying to pay you as an electrician, your prices are going to be higher.
Right. And if so like if you define a pyramid scheme that way, I would say the entire global economy is pyramid schemes.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Where the 1% of the top make all the money. And then we as a nation do nothing about it, but that's fine. Cool.
Hype Freak, I'll get you a copy of that commercial. Yeah, I got them all.
Cool.
That's something we're doing, by the way. We're starting to use the chat room and the marketing layer to talk about the different videos, like this video, for example. Maybe if there's a portion of my rant that was interesting, we can cut it out as a clip or something. I don't know. But stuff like that, where it's like, oh, this little thing happened on this one show. Let's make a 30-second clip on it, or even tutorial videos and stuff like that.
Oh, I don't have any lot in this shit.
The marketing layer?
Yeah.
You can ask for some, buy some.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
To buy it would matter from somebody who has it.
We'll see. No, I was just checking it out. Seeing what people are doing here, because I didn't know people were even using the chat function in this shit. So.
No, there's like a top 5. You know how the leaderboard has a top 5 chat rooms?
Yeah.
Leaderboard. You know why it's top 5 chat rooms?
Because there's only 5 people, only 5 chat rooms that are being used.
Yeah, I originally tried to make a top 10 by chat activity, and I was like, "There's not 10 chat rooms being used."
What are the top 5?
The top 5. The top 5 are.
Oh, you don't know?
No, it's right here.
Off the top of your head, though?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I know Dragon Chain's the top 1 because of all of the that's the Dragon Chain chat room actually gets used quite a lot, and it's mostly people bitching about Dragon Chain not making money for them without them doing something.
Yeah,
which we're not allowed to do. Like we can't do that. Sorry. Where's Den? Den. Boom. Yep. So they are Dragon Chain,
cryptocurrency marketing.
Yeah, there's a lot of chat in there. You can read it if you want to, but I don't know. I don't even look at it anymore because it's hard to even talk to anybody. Cryptocurrency marketing, just because Hyperion Frequency and I started talking in it about doing the video stuff, and then Den, and then Linux.
Nice.
At the top.
What was I gonna say? I don't know. Oh yeah. There's suggestions for next month's World Blockchain Roundtable up, by the way.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Let's look at it.
In case you wanted to see what was happening over there.
Yeah, I do. Speaking of that, did you see this GI from Joe? It's basically what you were doing already.
Yeah, and then I was like, I've already said no to this, and then he proposed it again, essentially, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Well, I did want to make sure before I voted on it that it was just a guideline and that it doesn't restrict you from deviating from it where needed.
Yeah, I'm gonna do what I want anyway, and then if people complain about it, then I'll do it this way.
They can always vote you off the island if they really want.
Exactly, and like,
but this is what you did last time, exactly.
Yeah, that's basically what I did last time. The only thing is, like, sometimes people get excited to get in there in a certain order. So, like, I'm watching everybody for body language, going, "Oh, looks like Dave's psyched about this. Let's get his thoughts in here real quick." Because some people would rather go last, and some people would rather go first. And over time, like, and I talked about that previously. Like, over time, I'm gonna get more of a feel of that for the panel. But like, you can tell in people's body language by kind of when they want to go and when they're excited, or if they're just doing something else. Like Sean was on the phone, like he's on the phone sometimes when he's with us. We're talking to people, so like I can tell when he's on the phone, and I know to just go to another person, and then I can be like, oh, he's off the phone.
Yeah.
I can go to him now.
And that's not an issue at all. That's part of what I was saying to Joe, is like, as long as this is like laying out a guideline and it isn't saying things outside of this pattern are not welcome, then that's fine. You know, you're not excluding things by not explicitly defining them, and that's fine.
Yeah,
So.
the big thing too is like there's no consequence built in. So it's kind of like what the like US does when they pass a bill. It doesn't matter if you pass it. What matters is that there's funding for it. If there's no funding for it, you can pass all the things you want. So like with this, if there's no funding for it, or in like incentive for me to do it, or if there's no disincentive for me to do it, then it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, people get mad, but then they'll kick me off, and that's fine. That's
they're
like
not going to get mad enough to kick you off. But you're right.
Well,
it's like a meaningless sort of thing.
That's the disincentive, is that people get mad that I didn't go in order. It's like, okay, well, I guess that's what they wanted. And then you change it. Like, there's no immediate consequence to it.
Yeah. Test the waters. Yep. What is it? Ask for forgiveness, not permission. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of how innovation happens, but you got to do it kind of within boundaries. And we kind of just have to like trust each other. And the more I realize what like vision people have for the show, the closer I can get to working towards it.
Yeah, John, you're not saying you don't care. You're just saying that you know what you're doing. And so if you make a judgment call on, hey, it needs to be done like this because it makes it better this way, then you're going to do that, because ultimately, like, it's not going to suck because you're there. You know, if you're doing it, you want it to be like, no, here's how I run things. If you want me up here.
So like the goal of my goal is to create the best possible show. Right. So it's not like that's what I care about. I don't care about going in order, and the fact that we messed up going in order. If messing that up makes it a bad show, then I'm not going to do it. If messing that up distracts people enough that they're going to complain about that and not pay attention to the show, then like I'm just going to go in order, and that's the whole point. So it's kind of like why you have representatives and we're not a straight up democracy. Why we're like the US is a republic and not a literal democracy, or else we would just be voting on everything all the time. You elect representatives to make actions for you. So I've essentially been elected by the DAO to be the host.
Yep.
Let me be the host.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
And then if there's issues, we'll add on restraints, you know? Oh yeah, if I start like insider trading, yeah, then let's maybe pass some laws to limit insider trading. Right. But that's not happening.
Yeah. And there's also a big difference between like there's a bunch of ways that the show is structured. Some of them are more important than others, you know?
Yeah.
So, like giving out rewards proportionally, pretty important part of it. You know, I mean, that's the incentive structure. letting the audience choose which questions get pushed to the top to make sure, like, if there's a bunch of them, for example, there's 50 questions, letting the audience vote on them so that they order which ones are more important for them to be hit.
Yeah.
That's a more important of it. Going down the order of like hosts, like it's spelled out in Joe's GI, that's a useful tool to keeping it organized and keeping the pace and the flow and all that. But it's not as important as a rule as the other ones. So there's different things that matter more or less. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, and you also never know what's like going on that week, you know. So I'm not worried about it whatsoever. I never was. I think I was just trying to say, it's like you're acting like a politician. Well, I kind of was voted into this position, and my goal is to make like the constituents happy, which is the audience. So yeah, I get the analogy. Hopefully, it's a good politician, like the one that people like, and not a bad politician. That's all I can hope for. Because like having a good representative is amazing, right? Like that's what everybody wants.
It is really nice, isn't it? Because not everybody has time to like research every little thing that there is to vote on, you know, to have an opinion in the first place. But if you can say like if I were to be able to be like, oh no, John's got it, man. I know John, good dude, trying to look out. He knows he can't make everyone happy, but he's also like not scummy, and he's not going to do things like to shoot us all in the foot for his personal gain. He's got it. And until I see him not having it, it's nice. Like you said, it's nice to have a representative that you can be like, yeah, they got it. Like if I could look at the White House and be like, you know what? Ron Paul's in there. Yeah, he's got it. That would be my, personally for me. Everybody has a different, you know, requirement for that. Yeah. But that's somebody where I would be like, not necessarily Rand, but Ron. All right, Ron's got it. You know, I would feel that way.
So Hyperion like said, like, can we name any good politicians? I would say like
that's one.
Well, like here's the thing with it is like you're kind of like you're looking in a swamp for a good fish. You know what I mean? Like if you want a good politician, you want to like go to the leaders of nonprofits because they're essentially politicians, right? Just in a different way. Like you want to find those people because like the way we elect politicians is not in a healthy way. So the ones that are good don't stay, or the ones that apply are getting into it for the wrong reason. I think if you look at like student government, you might find better politicians, you know, or and shit like that. Sometimes, depending on the high school, because college student governments are a sham.
You know,
but yeah, like you want to find good guys. You want to find good people. There was a guy named Denny Heck from Washington State that I worked for, and he got elected to the House and then left because he's like, you guys are shitty and shady. Like he was on I think he was on like one of the financial committees. He was on like some pretty big committees, and then after just being there for I think like 2 terms, he's like, you guys are bad people and we're not doing anything, I'm leaving. That's like who you want, is the one that's like, I'm trying to do the right, and he did some really great things for the state of Washington. Like you want those people. So we're doing things that push out
typically the people that get pushed out of the club, I guess, right?
Exactly. And you know, or you know, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, you know, like over time of trying to do the right thing but having to compromise little by little over time, you end up becoming a villain and not recognizing yourself anymore.
Yeah, so that's an issue.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why when I vote for people, I kind of just try to pick the nice person. Like if they're like, who would I don't know. Yeah, who's got values that I align with, you know, who's not treating other people like shit, who's like standing up for the little guy. Those are the people that I like, because
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because when it comes down to like financial things, like there's so many other factors that are just out of your control. But when it comes to like social issues, people that are standing up for like those rights, those are the people I want to try to align myself more with, because that's kind of they're kind of the moral compass of whatever group they're leading. So if you got to have a good moral compass there. We do not need an AI to be our representative, because I think literally they'll just be like, let's just kill off all the humans because they're obviously the issue. Yeah.
That reminds me of something that I saw this morning where who was it? Wozniak, Musk, and like what I was reading was like 1,000 or more other,
it was 1,100
people. Yeah. They all signed a thing saying, hey, we got to stop this AI stuff. We got to stop development of this AI thing because it's about to lead us into hell, basically. I haven't read this statement they signed yet, but I saw that.
Yeah.
The AI thing is getting weird. They just turned it on to the internet. ChatGPT 4 came out, and it had been limited to like 2 years ago was the most recent data, I think, is what Greg told me anyway. So now it can just be on the internet, and it can just in real time be on the internet to collect information and to train itself. So fucking yay, right? You're going to have AI crawling the web like a Google bot that crawls websites to search index it. Now you're going to have the Bing bot, because that's Microsoft bot, I think, OpenAI or something, an integrated ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So now the Bing bot is going to be learning as it reads the internet, which is terrifying because you've seen what happens when children learn from reading the internet.
And when adults
Yeah.
just look at misinformation out there, like,
I guess I just
is the AI going to be reading misinformation and thinking it's true?
Yeah, I mean, maybe
it's from a
sure.
quote unquote reputable source,
right? Yeah, like if it takes everything on Wikipedia as fact, it's going to run into problems. If it takes everything from like a government website as holy, even if you try to say even if you try to restrict it just to certain websites, you're still like, there's just no, I don't know. I don't know.
I agree. It's scary, and I'm like, what I'm scared for too is like the fact that we're going to be replacing people's jobs with this, and they're going to have to be retrained in something else. We're going to run out of things for humans to do.
Where we're going, dude.
Unless our job is just going to be to program computers, but we're getting to the point where like AI can do that, and so much has already been done that we can just copy and paste it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, all the fun shit's going to be taken away.
What I think we're really going to see at some point, and I see you're exactly right. Umbrella Promise movement. This is what that's about. But if I go off on that right now, it's going to be a big rant again. So I'm just going to maybe talk about that in the new Umbrella Promise layer that is live as of Monday. So that's the thing. ChatGPT 4, it's for, you have to like pay for it right now. It's pro version only. But where we're going is you've got AI that now can generate some sort of script, right? We saw that. We had a really shitty script for a sketch comedy that you and I like got the AI to make, right?
Yeah.
They're starting to make AIs now that focus on doing that better. You've got AIs that can emulate an actor's voice. So if you want to say, hey, let me get Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about my local pizza shop, it'll do that for you. It sounds just like Arnold or whoever you want to plug in.
Yeah, I've seen heard and seen the deep fakes, man. It's scary shit.
The deep fakes where it looks like him. The animation is getting so photorealistic where it looks, look at Disney with Star Wars bringing dead actors in. And you can still tell that it's not like it. For one, like, of course, Leia's not young anymore and she's also dead. So I know it's fake, but also they look pretty good and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, it's only going to get better is the deal.
And I just saw one of them released recently a new full blog post generator where you can give it some ideas. It'll write a full blog post
I'm
for you.
curious if you can see that actually.
I can. It's a clear day out there. You're not in a cloud anymore.
There's a tugboat
Boats.
pulling that big ass boat over there.
Well, tugboats going to tug, man.
That's
Barges don't have their own engines.
It's so tiny. It's a tiny ass boat compared to like that big ass thing it's pulling.
Yeah, but the whole boat is an engine.
Yeah,
the whole thing is an engine. So
it's kind of cool. I've never seen it actually. I've never seen like a one of the tugboats actually tugging anything in the water before.
Really, you live on that river, and that's the first time you've seen it?
Yeah, you don't really see it all that often. They're usually coming in on their own power.
Gotcha.
Or I miss it. Yeah.
Whenever you see ships coming in, they usually, unless it's a cruise ship, if you ever see like a military ship coming in, you'll see tugboats pulling it around too.
I don't see too many military ships. I see a lot of military planes coming through though.
Okay.
Not a lot of military ships. We have the Intrepid right here. And that's that takes care of it.
Yeah. When you have
come up for
maybe
Fleet Week.
That would be fun actually.
That'd be cool.
It's like September or something. I don't know.
Fuck if I know.
I have to look and see.
You're the Navy guy.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to get to the point where you can tell an AI. You know how everybody, this is what I was getting at. I wanted to just finish this thought. You know how everybody has great ideas, but it takes actually putting it into like doing something with it before it's a thing. You're going to be able to tell an AI your great idea for a script, a plot point, like, hey, make me a movie in the style of this director with these actors based on this plot. And then it's going to be able to generate a film, and it's going to act all the actors, and it's going to voice all the voices, and you're going to literally get a finished product from the AI from an input query based on like, hey, I have an idea for a film.
Hopefully the AI goes, hey, that's a shit idea. Here's a better one. Because anybody that writes their film like that probably isn't a great film writer or director.
The point. That's the point. Everyone gets to feel like they're awesome at their job, but really they just are stoners with interesting ideas.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of dumb shit. Oh, well, life is here. And here it is. Oh, God, this is so depressing. It's fine.
Well, no, that's where I'm at, man. I took a step back and I'm just like, well, let's just watch it all unfold and see what happens, I guess.
So my town, if I were to create my own town,
it
would just be in the fucking woods. It'd be like in the mountains, right? Entirely like self-sustainable. And then what I'd do is I'd have like maybe like tiny homes. I'd have like a bunch of tiny homes. And then over the summer, like, and then I would do like month-long acting and improv camps or like a couple weeks or something. So you come and you stay for like a week or two, and then I teach all that and then do a show, and then you leave. And then I have nobody there for a while. And then you come later. And all my friends work there. You and Tina come and you set up all like the blockchain. And so everything's on blockchain and shit.
It's automated, it's trustless. You don't have to worry about somebody lying and screwing you over and stealing money. Everything's secure. Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. And then also like you can do like blockchain boot camps there. And we just do like, it's like a super night. It's like glamping for camps, right? And then
can we Jared just do that?
Jared would live there and he would run music festivals and record bands. You'll do blockchain seminars and stuff, and I'll do like acting and theater camps. And it's all
we could actually do this at a you imagine just like prototyping this at Spirit of Swanee Music Park, where we literally like that's the festival. It's like you come in and learn about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is you need housing for everything. Like I want a bunch of well, more housing than I want. I want to be closer to glamping than camping. You know?
Okay, gotcha.
Because like honestly, like after a day of seminars, like it's exhausting, and you don't want to go sit in tent.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And then also then you can control like the weather because Florida sucks. So,
like, I don't know if you've been out there recently, but they have a bunch of tiny houses now. They have like a whole little town basically where you can rent the house. They have the as far as seminars go, they have the music hall, which is an indoor catered or with a restaurant serving drinks and stuff where you can like schedule that stuff.
Yeah, I forgot they actually had that row of house, the cabins.
Yeah,
And
they
then
got a bunch more
I guess
too.
they added more.
They added them all down like where you first come in the park. Like there's a bunch of them now.
Yeah.
Some of them you can buy and live there permanently if you want, but they're
Cool.
all for rent. And a lot of them have 2 bedrooms plus the
Nice.
couch. So you could actually design a like people that are good at a thing could have. You have to vouch. You have to like, you got to curate it, of course, to make sure it's good.
Yeah,
But
no, that's what mine would look like. Is it would just be, and then like we'd have our kids, and we'll go on like our vacations to like civilization, every other month or every month or whatever. So like they're not like checked out of reality. They're just like also connected to like the world, and also that they don't have to deal with fucking people because people are the worst. Yeah, and we'll all just live there. And there's the only rule is there's no cars. There's no cars. When you show up, you have to like park your car in a lot, and then you get a golf cart or a bike, or like you get some other mode of transportation because cars are insane.
I like the idea of designing a city from the ground up in modern times to be like a certain way. Because I just bought an e-bike, like earlier this month, and it's badass, dude. I can do like 20, 25 miles an hour on this thing. And it goes for, depending on how much I'm using it, it goes for 30 or 60 miles kind of thing. So yeah, you could build a city up around that where things are designed not necessarily around the automobile, but designed around like having tight infrastructure, where you can reach things by foot or by bike or by cart.
Yeah.
I would live in your town, John.
I mean, like, honestly,
I guess I wouldn't live in your town because you said everybody had to leave afterwards, right? But
no,
I would
no,
visit
no,
your
no,
town.
no. Like, so, like, no. This is a town just for my friends,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
So, like, you're there, like Jared and Sarah come, like, you know what I mean? Like, we all like work from there. Justin does his shit online or whatever, like, and he'll run like trivia night and like help with music and stuff and MC things, and like we kind of all like have a role that fits with what we want to do. And I get to teach like and I think that'd be pretty sick. Towns they're not super expensive either. Like, that's what I would
you mean
do.
like a lot of the ghost towns that are out there waiting for someone to come in and do something with them?
I think that'd be cool too. I think I would like want to buy one of those ghost towns that already. So like I think it'd be cool to have like this is an old post office that we've now changed into something else.
Yeah.
And, the problem that you just have is like the water and electricity and stuff like that.
Infrastructure stuff, yeah.
But if you can make enough, like you can use then you can do things like that you talk about with like excess energy used to mine and whatever else.
Yeah, like right now we pay Gainesville, the utility company pays people to take the extra energy that the power plant creates because they got nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So we're literally paying people to take excess energy from the power plant. And at the same time, we're building. No, this is what I've heard, but I have to verify it still. But we're building a solar plant, like around the power plant. We're building a solar field, solar power stuff, which is great. Problem is the grid can only handle a certain amount of current on it. And so you either have to shut down the power plant to allow the solar energy to be used, but then you don't have enough battery storage to last overnight the way it's going in right now. So like that doesn't work. You have blackouts at night, basically when the sun goes down. And you can't just turn on the power plant at night and shut it off during the day because there's a whole like commissioning, decommissioning, like bringing it online and offline thing. First of all, it's not really a good idea to do that for efficiency because like once it's running, it's more efficient than starting it up. So you can't just like shut it down during the day and start up the power plant at night and then use the solar panels during the day. Anyway, there's this whole problem with how to do that to where we don't have blackouts and we're not paying people to take the extra energy and there is somewhere to dump it. And one solution to that is to use it to mine Bitcoin. Like everybody's so like, especially in Gainesville, people are like anti-Bitcoin because it uses energy, right? It's like, oh, it's using too much energy and it's destroying the environment. Well, it could bridge the gap between, while we develop renewables, it could bridge the gap between legacy oil power plants and renewables by allowing you to run both at the same time. So it's stable. And then the excess goes into mining Bitcoin, which you, by the way, can use to upgrade your infrastructure, to finance pilot programs and stuff like that. So that's something we'll probably talk about tomorrow, because that's one of the things that blockchain can help with as far as like helping the climate and the atmosphere and the environment and all that stuff, if we want to use it for that.
That would be pretty cool, man. I guess you could just go like completely solar with it. So if you live in like Florida or something, you could probably easily go solar with your energy.
You know what I want to do? We have so many springs in North Florida anyway.
Yeah.
I want to buy a piece of property with a spring on it and then just plug the hole with a turbine, with a generator.
Yeah, that's the other idea too. You could just do both, so that way you have like a backup one. Then you have like water, like filtration and shit like that as well, though. But I don't know, man. That's what I would do. Maybe one day. I'll do it.
When we're in different financial positions, we'll do it. I'm there. Sign me up.
We need more money or less money? What do we need?
More money. We need money. All the money. We need all the money.
All right. If we need a bunch of money to do this, then that kind of like defeats the purpose.
Or a bunch of people. One or the other. Time and people or money. One or the other.
I think you need like not like a lot of people, but I think like 10 to 15 people would be nice. But like they have to be friends. Like I don't want just randoms. You know what I mean? I'm not about that life. Anyway,
so
it's 5 minutes till 11.
5 minutes till 11.
We didn't talk about any of the things we wanted to talk about, by the way.
Sure, it was freestyle episode. We were going to talk about other like competing social media sites or whatever, but we can do that in the layer itself. We can talk about the pros and cons of each. Real quick though, I want to name your town. What would you call it? Would it be something like on the nose, like just my friend's town? Or what do you name a town like that? Or is it a village at this point, I guess?
Branchville.
Branchville.
I name it after myself. No, there's actually, so here's this is a real fake story.
See you later, High Freak.
This is my dad's theory of where our last name comes from. That there was Charlemagne had like all these illegitimate kids, and they would and he had these villages outside basically like a hamlet. But Charlemagne had really quick to, I'll share this story. Charlemagne had all these like illegitimate kids, right? And what he would do is he had all these mistresses that stayed in villages outside of his capital, and they were all called Branchville. And then the last name of the kid would be called Branch, because it was a branch off of.
It's like a banking branch.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a branch off of the lineage. So that's where the last name Branch came from, which is not true. I think it's because of like water and like.
So you're a branch of the Charlemagne.
That's his theory.
Is it a dynasty? The legacy? I don't know.
Whatever the fuck you
family.
want to call it.
It's a family.
It's like I'm 99% sure that's not anything close to being true. Because if you go through,
that doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Things being true, nobody cares about that.
So Branchville is where all the bastard sons live. Is where all the bastard kids are, which I think is.
So you come from a family of bastards.
There's another place called Branch Town. That's a real place. Make decent bourbon. I'm pretty sure they make bourbon or whiskey. Branchville is another one. There's a whole bunch of them.
A lot of towns are named after what they do as well. Like when I was in Europe, like I found out where a lot of the beers that I know came from. Pilsner is from Pilsen in Czech Republic. Budweiser comes from Budweis. So there's a city called Budweis. There's a city called Pilsen. There's a lot of cities for like what they produce, what they came after. I think the product was probably named after the city and not the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely a person that names things last and not first, because I'm always going to change the name of it. So yeah, I don't know what I'd call it.
Town.
Town.
All right. Hey man, let's go. I'm gonna go hit a couple of customer support things that I'm seeing pop up. Tomorrow, climate and blockchain. Go leave some questions on World Blockchain Roundtable. There's like 4 of them. The last time I looked, I think 3 of them are from one person. So go leave questions about that, and we'll talk about it on the show tomorrow. Anything else on our way out of here?
I'm thinking about this Patreon thing. I'm thinking it might be kind of fun to do,
Hey,
especially since it's like free to start. Like
we can definitely do that. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, what if somebody wanted me to write something specific? I'm like, they could trade, I guess, their lot in for it.
That's something that I would love to help with.
Because I think because that's the thing is like if your dollar monthly payments give you lot,
Mm-hmm.
then that's basically what you want to make payments in as well. Because they're not buying matter from me by being subscribed to the Patreon.
Right. No, they're buying
the
lot governance tokens to be able to
so
weigh in on stuff. Yeah.
So them having to spend lot is what would, because then in order for them to buy more lot, they'd have to give more money to the Patreon.
Yep. Yeah, and that can be the only way you get lot.
I kind of like this idea because then I can take the articles I write and write it other places too. I don't know. I just have to.
Well,
I was running the numbers, and I'd have to have like 400 people at $5 a month, which is way too many.
Or 200 people at $10 a month.
Or
what do you need for 5 people? What do you need
for 5 people? Well, let's see. Make $2,000 a month, right? And I want it by 5 for 5 people. That's $400 a month.
$400. That would. Well, whoever wanted it that bad would be highly engaged at that price, probably. Right?
Well, like, here's the thing: is like, what if one of the people was like Den?
Like, so this is what I was thinking. Is I think it's a good enough idea that directly is beneficial for Den across the board. That at the very least, I think we could probably sponsor. Den could sponsor that by sponsoring, for example, a private lair for you to work out of, to where it's yours and you control the lot and you have all the control. Like I say you, I mean the community, but like your ideas thing could be your Patreon, could be the private layer. That could be a thing. Because normally you have to buy those. I'm sure that something like this that's directly something that is for Den. That seems like something we should sponsor by just not charging you for that, basically. Yeah, I mean, I'll pitch it. I'll talk to like the next. We have a meeting internal once a week.
If you feel like pitching it, go ahead and pitch all my ridiculous ideas and just feel it out. I am not, but by no means am I going, hey, Den, you have to do this. I just think it's like, it's cool. And if you actually want to grow something, I think this is like a good way to do it. And I'm already like familiar with the platform. I am a writer already.
There's no reason not to do it, because the worst thing that could possibly happen is you don't get enough people signing up for it.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work out the way that you wanted it to work out. That's the worst possible thing that could happen. And
well, then you're putting a lot of time in. Well, then you also have opportunity costs. So like, the worst thing that happens, I make no money, but also the worst part of that is I put a lot of time and energy and effort into something that made no money. And then that's depressing as well.
You could have been doing something else. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Game theory for me. I think also, it would create an incentive for me to not go get a job that interferes with like Thursdays if they want to like continue trying to grow their own show. Like as soon as I get something that comes up on Thursdays that makes me money or is more interesting or important, like I won't be the host that week.
Of course.
And if something comes up consistently, then like I got to take that opportunity. But doing something like this keeps me from taking those opportunities unless they're amazing. You know what I mean? Just a thought.
Yeah. So maybe we can put a post up to say, hey, who's like, maybe get people to signal interest. Hey, would you sign up for this if this is something we went for to see? Do you want to feel it out and see, or do you want to just, what do you think?
I would just do it. And I think if I had like
so instead of asking, you were saying just do it and say, hey, you can sign up for it right now. Here's the thing.
Yeah, here's the thing. And then here's like stuff I'm gonna do. I've already posted and stuff. The only thing that would make me feel better about doing it probably is if Den was like, oh, this is a good idea and you should do it, because like I don't like, if they don't want that kind of vibe and that happening on their site, then
that's not a thing.
I wouldn't want to do it.
That's not a thing.
Well, okay, that might not be a thing, but if they don't set up their site so that it works like efficiently, then or they're not, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you can do whatever you want, but we're not going to implement any features to help, or we're not going to be doing any features that service anybody that works in this capacity. If that makes sense.
I see what you're saying. So what we would need is for you to point out some things that you would need to make this work for you better than what is possible right now. Well, and then Den needs to provide the dev resources to implement that so that it works, is what you're saying.
I'm kind of saying the opposite a little bit.
Oh,
I just need them not to hinder me, because at this point, like, I don't know what features I would need. You know what I mean? But I need it to be, if I come to them with a feature and being like, hey, this would be like kick ass and super awesome, and they go, as long as they don't go, yeah, but we're not trying to move in that direction, so we're just not going to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing that is closest to that would be like, we have this dev priorities list where the little bit of progress we're able to make is focused on that kind of thing.
I think the other thing too would be like, because like there is a thing where like, because that's how I can easily do this, right? Just create a Den.DAO vote and just some kind of DAO vote or whatever GI issue, and then push through whatever I want.
Yeah.
Right. As long as I have enough people that support and are like-minded, then that's fine. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah. If there's issues like there were with like people just downvoting for no reason, right, and creating bots and other things like that, and then not addressing those issues is what can hurt it.
Gotcha. Right? Yeah, that kind of stuff is I've been helping a lot with that actually, and it looks like it's been working based on the differences we've seen just before and after implementing those kinds of things. Yeah, those are like health of the overall platform items, where if there's something that's like breaking shit, that's obviously going to need to have some priority spent on it. I don't think that's I don't think there's going to be any hindrance. And I do think that there'd be support, especially like this is something that Den needs, I would say, a lot. And so because of that, I would imagine that this is something that, number one, everybody would vote for the thing that needs to happen in the GI vote anyway, for the priorities, the dev priority list. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even if it's not that, if it's something that just needs to be tweaked or fixed because we're seeing, oh, this isn't working the way we need, there's too many bots, for example, whatever system that we have is not working well enough because of X, Y, or Z. Yeah, I think that there can be definitely a relationship there to where there's always an open channel. If anybody wants to do, and not just you, but anybody who wants to do something like this, there's always an open channel of how to collaborate between Den.DAO and anybody who wants to do something like this, because it's exactly the kind of thing that we need. Yeah. So I think it's a good idea. Yeah. And if it can make you some money, it's even a better idea.
And I think like the sharing tools and stuff and being able to share and things to other platforms and stuff is like important. Is an example of like, I don't need Den working for me, but I just need them not to be getting into my way kind of deal. I don't understand.
That shouldn't be a problem.
I don't understand what the What about jokes from comics written and tested on Den using Den for evaluation? I don't understand.
That's kind of what I was saying earlier that you
References.
talked me out of, which was basically like here's the content that I'm going to put up. Here's my draft. You guys, let me know if it works or not. This is basically that is what I am is saying.
So here's the thing: is I want them commenting on the actual post. I don't want to hide engagement on like multiple different places. You know what I mean? That's like posting on Twitter and being like, "Don't comment here. Go over to Facebook." Like, no, I want you commenting here when I post it. And if there's
you want all the engagement to be in that same on that post.
If you watch like YouTubers and shit like that, they're like, let me know in the comments section this or that. They're also like, they'll just take weird, strong views on stuff and they're like, fight me in the comment section. I'll go after you. I'm like, they don't hate people and like they're not trying to start confrontation. They just want more dots talking to each other. So that's why they do it. So why would I hide? Like, unless it was if it was a bad draft, I wouldn't put it out there. But why would I hide content that I think is good for people to tell me it's different when I can have that conversation open?
And it drives engagement anyway to the same post.
Yeah, and if for some reason the layer the John Branch layer, whatever it is, becomes like so hyped that people are in there going, "This is what you should write next," or "You should do this next," like, then hell yeah. But I can have that conversation as well as what's happening elsewhere.
And if you wanted to use Patreon itself, I don't see why you couldn't use that to make it, if it's easier, in other words, to get this off the ground by just plugging in something that already works. You probably don't want to put out your like personal information for people to wire money to you or send you a Cash App or a PayPal payment.
Well,
but using that itself could work too.
Yeah, because like the problem with that is that like I'd be fine with somebody putting your Venmo out there really doesn't hurt you. Like,
no, but you have to track subscriptions and you have to like, keep up with who's current to get what thing is the incentive.
And that's like the thing with, they take a percentage and it's between like 2 to 8% of what you make, and they go, this is ours as a service fee for doing this shit. Like this Podia one I was checking out, they take like an 8% fee, but there's no like monthly fee for it, and they do all this other shit for you, which is kind of cool. So yeah, like tracking subscriptions is what would be hard. So unless Dave, you want to go in on this and find a way to track subscriptions,
maybe,
I don't know.
I'll look into it. Yeah.
It could be interesting, right? Something to like basically, whenever you send me a payment, you get paid out in lot. So like you give me $5 and then Den sees that transaction happen on Venmo, and then it sends out 500 lot. Could be interesting. I don't know how to do that. But.
The first version of that would be you receive a Venmo payment, and they make sure they put in the notes what their like Den username is, and then you email me.
Yeah, and
I wish you a lot.
Well, and like that's one version, and like the other version is like, all subscription payments must happen by this day, and then the next day I go through and just like search for emails and then send everything out.
Do the batch. That would be the initial, like the non-automated way, doing it manually, to just batch it once a month, and just like once a month, it's like, all right, here's the emails and here's how many lot they get.
I don't want to fall into like human error right away though, because like if it's not automated, then it's my fault. Whereas if I'm going through a third party, like there's no fault here. Either you did it incorrectly and you didn't sign up right, or you know what I mean? Like that's it.
I mean, you could also like make a spreadsheet and then put in the math on the spreadsheet, and it just does it for you. It's not automated, but it removes a lot of the opportunity for error when you do it that way.
Yeah, but it doesn't work when it pulls their like names and stuff. Does that make sense?
I think so. I could probably write something.
That
it would be a good exercise too. It'd be a good tool exercise.
As long as they use their, also everything is literally just $1 for a lot, is like if everything was like there's no matter or energy, any of that shit, right? Everything's lot, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. That's not the right word I should use. It doesn't make a difference. Even what's in the note or what it's for. Even if they're just like, here's $100 donation, it's like, great. Here's 1,000 lot.
Mhm.
You know, hey, here's a 69-cent donation Venmoed to you. Great. Here's 69 lot, because if
You can
I'm
tie
going
it
to
to
value,
pennies.
yeah, I'm going to value my lot like that. So it doesn't even matter as long as their Venmo name is associated with a Den account. Then
Or
I
an
know
email or an email address that they use to sign up for the Den account.
who to make the lot payment out to.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that'd be the easiest way to do it. And then, so as long as somebody's like, doesn't go, I don't want lot for my donation, as long as nobody's saying that, then I'm okay. Because at no point can they ask for more lot than their donation, right? So yeah, that's fine. I would
We could do it that way.
yeah. And then if they wanted something particular, they still make the payment that way. Or then if they wanted something in particular, they're still just paying me with lot. So they would Venmo me. They like on Den, right? They would be like, "Hey,
Oh, I see what you're
here,
saying. Yeah, because
like,
then you
hey,
wouldn't have to necessarily mint the lot every time. They could pay you for stuff in lot, and then you would
yeah,
have that as a pool to then sell to people that wanted to. You could mint anything you didn't have, but you could also just resell whatever lot people gave you to pay for stuff if
yeah."
it's set up that way.
What I could have like no ownership in the layer. This would be interesting. Fuck, that's weird. I don't know if you gotta go, but this is an interesting idea.
No, let's talk about. I'm
What
here
if
for
I
it.
had no ownership in the layer, but every month I get like the so every month I get minted, like, let's just for round numbers, like 100,000 lot, right?
Mhm.
But the lot payments to everybody for for their donation gets taken out of my pool, right?
Yes, right.
So if people are like, oh, I want this thing done, here's lot for you to do the thing, then I go, great. And then the next month that's still taken to pay out for donations. It's still taken out of my lot. Does that make sense?
And then it can sell out too at that point.
Yeah, like I would have none left
Yeah.
because like I don't want to float lot because I want the cash monies. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah. You want to pay for your apartment
Yeah.
and for food, and that's one way to do it, is to use them for accounting, just for, as an accounting tool,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. That way, anybody who pays you your John lot to do something has gotten that. Theoretically, they've gotten it because they've paid for it. They've paid you for it in the past.
Yeah. I could only, what if I only minted the amount of lot that I needed to pay out every month? So it was never like a consistent 100,000. So like,
Yeah,
let's say
that's
this month, right? Okay. So we're like the same. So like if people paid me 100 lot for something, right? The following month, I would only mint 100,000 minus
that you got paid the
that.
previous month. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that can be tracked pretty easily. You just have to do like once a month, you have a little accounting session, and then mint what you need, send out what you got. I don't see why it couldn't work.
Yeah. I think that'd be pretty easy.
And then if you do that with Den, then you could maybe find interesting ways to use the GI section too, the governance section, like that one where it's arbitrary, where you can make any decision kind of deal.
Yeah, and like I would have no say in it either, which would be really interesting. I'm trying to decide if I should have no say or if I should like every time I mint lie, I get I like you mint double or whatever, right? So that you always have a certain interest in the company.
Yeah, there's the thing about not having any control over it though is like you've always got like you're a human being. You've always got, you know, like an option to not like people who are asking you to do things and voting on things are going to have to be cognizant of like, okay, we can't tell John to go jump off of a bridge and kill himself. He's not going to do that. Or we can't tell John to go make a multi-million-dollar feature-length film because it's not funded. So you'd have to have some ground rules about like obviously, you know, things that need funding have to have funding for them to get done. And obviously, if like it's an absurd request that's directed, it's not going to happen. But
Okay,
outside of those things, then yeah.
so like I could just pass a GI at the top that like nothing is gonna no content is going to be created that'll compromise the morals and values of me.
Yeah,
Right.
you're making content that
Yeah.
that you're comfortable with making, because if you're not comfortable making the content, you're not going to do a good job.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about that. I was while you were doing your monologue, I was on Rumble, like checking out
Yeah.
what that looked like. And like most of it's just like far right live news. Like there's the Steve Bannon news organization on there.
Yeah, they're on there too. Yeah, I know. It's
The
very
Alex Jones 24/7 is on there. Which is just laughable to me. So I was like,
I want to have a balance of like I want Rumble's success. I don't want their imbalance.
yeah, it's just so easy to get people because they're already such like it's already such like a cult like following. So like it's guaranteed numbers if you get certain groups, but then you have to deal with those groups being there.
But
yeah,
I want those groups to be there. I just want there to be counter groups as well. That's like my dream, is this sort of like one big happy dysfunctional family situation. A lot of people on Rumble went to Rumble because they were on Parler, and Parler got shut down by like the Amazons and the Googles and the Apples that said, we're not going to serve your infrastructure. And so a lot of those went to Rumble, and then Rumble also got a lot of the people through the last couple of years who were being shut down on like left-controlled social media, like Facebook and Twitter, that didn't allow you to say things that went counter to their political views. And so that's why Rumble is so right-leaning, is because they were like, hey, you can talk about that over here if you want, and nobody else will let you talk about that. So that's what the majority of the content is over there.
I get that. As long as nobody's like been like, hey man, here's a 100,000 lot that I just paid for. Go make me the Alex Jones I love you hour. And I'm gonna be like, well, I'm thanks for the donation, buddy, but I'm not making that.
Yeah, that's not
like,
that's not in the
like
not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. But yeah, we're not gonna do that. Or I'm just gonna put my weird joke spin on it and it's not gonna be real, then they're gonna be pissed off.
Well, yeah, they have to, like, I would imagine that anyone giving you money is going to kind of want to know what you're about.
Yeah.
And if they know what you're about and they say, hey, John, go make a thing about this topic that I know you disagree with so much that you don't even like talking about it, like, that's not going to work out very well. Yeah. So there is a human element in all of this still.
For sure.
You're not an AI that we can give prompts to and get an answer back no matter what. You're a human being.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm glad we talked that out a little bit, because it seems like something that's very doable. I'm curious to see how many people we can get to sign up for that.
Yeah.
Because it's a good experiment to put like real effort into.
To me too, it's just like also like, because I really like doing like World Blockchain. I like doing this show and stuff. So like it's like finding a way or an incentive to keep doing these things, and then also like make sure I don't have things that come up over it, right? Like if I'm making enough money with other freelance opportunities that allow me to do this freelance thing as well, then I can keep hosting World Blockchain and stuff. But
Mhm.
like, you know, if somebody comes up to me and it's like, hey, we need a job doing this, uh cool. Just so nomadic. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still here, buddy.
Yeah. Jacob
Uh,
Wayne's gonna have to rewind because we're not going to be on the next 45 minutes.
yeah. But yeah, like I was like, yeah. What was I saying? Now that I got
You were just talking about how you
Yes.
have to eat. That's what you're talking about,
well,
right?
finding
So you
finding ways to keep
if
my
you can,
Thursdays open.
yeah, if you can do you know, different freelance things and combined, they give you the ability to keep doing the Thursdays thing. Yeah, this could be one of those things.
Makes sense, yeah.
If it works well enough, it could be like a big one of those things too. It's what we need. We need people figuring out how somebody could make money with Den. Like that's totally what we need. If we had 100 people trying different angles on things, it would explode.
Yeah. What if it, yeah, I guess it could also just be like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of thoughts that need to go into it. Because like
If you wanted to, if you're concerned about like I don't know what your concerns are right now, but if you wanted to, you could literally make it into a time limited experiment, and you could run it for 6 months, or you could run it for 3 months, and you could see like, okay, is this working? All right, cool, let's keep doing it. If that's a concern to you, like about the perpetualization of it, if that's a word.
I'm thinking about how like decision making process, because like how to make everybody happy without making everybody happy. Like, okay, great. Like everybody's subscribed. What does that get them?
You just got to make everybody happy enough to keep paying the subscription is what you need.
Yeah. So does
one way to do that is to make it to where like, okay, maybe you didn't get your thing this month, but we'll try to get your thing next. Maybe, you know, because you're not always going to get your way.
Well, like, am I trying to post one article in every layer every month to like keep it going? Like that's a lot of fucking articles.
Well, yeah. That's
and a lot of research. Or am I trying to just post like, you know, an article in the top 5 layers? So that's one
defining
article.
the goals. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how do I do that? To Yeah, I am for him was about to say, in my honest opinion, I don't know if that was a previous thing or not. But like how do I like define what I'm doing this month?
He was talking about that in his opinion.
Okay.
Like if the price of matter goes up, people will come to it for that reason, which is true. Sure.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
was
like,
thinking,
go ahead.
so that I think in your wheelhouse is more about the goals and what do you think you could bring to the table, and what do you think you could publish that's good and that's meaningful, that you know how to do and that you want to do. That's one thing. And then where I would help out as much as you needed me to would be more on the like the infrastructure part of it, and how would it actually work with like any, just what is the word, any like functional help that you need, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like I think kind of the stuff you're doing already, like these are the top layers that get the interaction in and stuff like that. Like, how do I create value for what they're like? Okay, how much time and energy and effort should I be putting into this at the start? Should I be like, hey, I'm going to put in 20 hours this week, and that's how many hours I'm going to put in until I reach this stretch goal? You know,
I would say that this is the deal you're making with your community.
Yeah.
I don't know what your bandwidth is right now, right? So that's something that I think you got to come up with, is to say, hey, here's what you get for it. Here's the thing. Here's how much it costs, and here's how you sign up.
Yeah, because it's hard to be like 20 hours a week for $5 a month if
Yeah.
there's two people, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the idea is that they're like, this is stuff I should be doing anyway, that'll be published in other places and whatever else.
Well, why don't you make
And this
one of
is
the
like a
goals
supplementary idea,
a
actually.
community goal based on what it would take for you to keep doing the thing. In other words, if it's $5 a month, you might say something like, this needs to have this many subscribers in 3 months for me to keep doing it. Otherwise, I cannot afford to keep doing it.
Well, it's like the level of subscribers too. Like if one person's like, I'm gonna subscribe for $10 and I want the upgraded package or whatever it is, right? Like
you could make it based on money. Here's how much I need to get paid minimum for this to keep going. And so that for people that want to see you keep doing that, that also gives them an extra incentive to go like ask their friends, hey, you're into comedy, right? Or I see you going to improv shows a lot. You want to pitch in on this thing? Like it's a creative thing with original content.
Yeah.
Put that out there. Like it's got, I think that seems logical, right? To tell people, hey, I want to do this, but I gotta make this amount. So help me out. So that could be one of your goals. That could be one of the community goals, is help me get this many people that are signed up so that I can keep doing it. And if people want you to keep doing it, they'll help you get that.
Well, the idea too is that like this would be supplementary actually to other things. So I'd be writing, like I would go and I'd write like whatever fucking article about a thing, right? And then that I could also sell that article on like Upwork to somebody or use it in a portfolio and like find other ways to leverage the same content I'm putting on Den somewhere else until so that way Den isn't like the only source of income. So that way like the Patreon would just be like an additional element to what I'm doing. So instead of having to make, if I want to make $2,000 a month, like having Patreon be an only element is crazy, right? But having that be part of it is just kind of like an additional incentive. And then if it doesn't pick up fast enough and another opportunity comes along, kind of deal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just make it flexible from the beginning, and you don't have to like feel bad about if it goes for a while and you find a better opportunity somewhere and you have to stop doing that to do something that is good for your career, so be it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let that stop me from. The reason I say that is because I do let that stop me from doing stuff where I'm like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Okay, I won't even start. So don't do that, because that stops me from doing things, and I hate that about myself.
No, that's 100% how I think too. I'm like, oh, what if it doesn't work? And then you look dumb. It's like, well, you look dumb for not doing anything. So yeah, I don't know. That might be an interesting idea.
I would say carve out what you think you have that isn't going to like burn you out immediately, but that is also substantial.
Well, I just don't have anything like right now. I just don't have anything else. So I was like, I have to, because like, especially in New York, like getting work is very much by like word of mouth. Like, you can fill out a million links, like LinkedIn jobs and Indeed shits, and not really much is going to come of it because everybody's hiring their cousin or their friend or whatever it is.
Yeah, people that are hiring, and they know people who know people, so they ask their friends. It's like, hey, who do you know? Or a recruiter, or
it becomes like a resume like battle, and my resume is not as good as other people because I like just switched careers in fucking August.
Mm-hmm.
I went from being doing compliance regulation for insurance companies in Florida to trying to write. So it's a very different, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't have like the internship from when I was 22 doing this.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
At Naylor or whatever. So yeah, that's the other thing.
I am down to put in whatever time it takes to make that work for you.
Sounds cool. Thanks. I
And
think
I'll whatever leverage I can use to lean into whatever needs to be leaned into, as far as like voting for a thing that you need, or like I'll help you out there too. Building something, writing something, automating something. I'm not by any means a like fantastically talented software developer, which I need to work on becoming a better one of. But this could also give me something that's concrete to say, like, all right, how would you build this? Because I understand programming. I do write stuff where I, have a language I understand. So I could do some stuff for you that you need. I'm down. I like it.
Okay, cool. I'll brainstorm on some more. We should. No, damn. Now I don't want to wait till next week. I was like, we should do another show and just get really stoned and figure it out. I think that'd be really funny.
We can do that in the we can do a late night cannabis lair.
Yeah,
I feel like you were stoned last night when I called you back.
Oh, I fucking was.
You sounded stoned. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. I think I called you and I was sober, and then after I was like, you didn't pick up. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna smoke this joint now.
Yeah, no, we can have a sesh in the cannabis lair and throw a video up and see if
that'd be pretty funny.
People want to either laugh with this, or like if we have a crazy stoner idea and it's a really good idea, and then people in chat can tell us like, it's not a good idea. We're sober and we don't like it as much as you do.
Here's what we should do though. All right, you ready for this? Is the idea. We do that show, okay? And it's a 2-hour long show. Just hear me out. No, it's an 1.5 hour long show. And the first 45 minutes, just me and you. And then the second 45 minutes, we invite Joe on. But he doesn't know we're stoned. We're just Joe and or like Joe and Greg. Bring them both.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that'd be so fun. And be like, look, Dave and I got stoned. We had an idea and we just did it. Can we pitch it to you? Like just now. Like I feel like it's like it's like watching the Den version of The Apprentice with like Donald Trump, where you had like you get to see them like think of their ideas and come up with stuff like live, which I think is super cool. I love watching people brainstorm. So like you and I will brainstorm stoned for 45 minutes. I feel like that's why it was going to be a 2-hour show, maybe even an hour, and then they come back for like the last half hour when we pitch, because then that way we can like build fucking graphs and videos and stuff. We get psyched about it.
Get a little slide deck. Prestige worldwide.
We can pull up data. Like you have all your, because like you already have so much of this data too.
Yeah,
and it's in my head. The only fucking language I know is SQL. So in my head to like,
dude, that's one of two that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah. So SQL's dumb and easy. It's complicated Excel. It's probably not complicated Excel is probably what it is.
Well, I've been using. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've been using like a more like advanced version of SQL that has a bunch of like programming stuff that regular like SQL doesn't have, basically, where it makes it easier.
So like the reason why is because I look at your tables and that's what I think about, because that's the shit.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah, that's what I used to do.
I had really complicated nested SQL queries that give me the right data that I need.
That's what I used to do too, at work. But so like, really, I would just need something that would be able to pull numbers for me, being like, look, like these are the top ones that I'm gonna hit every week, like these 10, and then maybe like the first 10. Maybe I'll do like fucking 5 articles a week, so 1 a day, and that go in the top 5 layers. And then
that would give layers something to compete for too, to like get your content into their layer.
Yeah, and then the other ones are random. Then I'll do like 5 other ones, or maybe the following week they're all random. So like I gotta go post in the Christianity layer. It's like, what is John gonna stay in here? Like that kind of hype, like hyping it in a weird offshoot way. Or I think that'd be interesting.
I could do that on I could do that Thursday. I could do that tomorrow evening. And then, I could do it Friday or Saturday too, though.
And then think about this. What if you could add points to certain layers by adding lot. So like every layer gets 1 point, right?
Mhm.
It gets like a 1%. It gets 1 point, right? But it's only in there once, right? But if you pay like 100 lot, which is $1, you can have like tabletop games in there twice, right? So it's like a
Oh,
raffle,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So you could put up like I don't know what to call it except a menu, where somebody could order from it and be like, "Oh no, I want this option or I want that option or I want to influence it this way with my lot that I pay you to do."
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like you could do it as a GI thing, and you would just have every one in there, I guess.
Yeah, you can
And then
do
you vote with your lot. But the thing is,
well, you vote.
I want them paying with lot, so that
Yeah.
way I can
So
recirculate it back into the economy.
yeah, so it's an extra step, but you would have to have someone tip you on Den, which there's no fee for, it's free.
Yeah,
And in the note, they just have to fill out the note. What is this for? And so then on your end, accounting wise, you can look back and see like, okay, this fee has been paid for this option, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And if there's any issue, you can DM the person and say, hey, what was this tip for? Because I
Yeah.
can't decipher your note.
If anything, I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that I wish like I could do with like the chain, with the blockchain, so that way like I'm out of it. You know what I mean? Like that is the nice thing about Den. It's like you vote on something, you put in your parameters. If it passes, it automatically happens, and it gets rid of that human error, hypothetically, right?
The decision is made automatically based on that.
Yeah.
And then anything that takes like, I see what you're saying though, because you could have it. So if let's say we made a modification to the GI system where when you're voting on something, when you're voting for something, sort of like how the LCP votes work, when you're putting lore in to vote for a layer, right? So when you're voting for something in this custom way in this GI, you could say, for example, okay, I'm going to vote for this, and it's going to automatically allocate the lot payment required. If this wins, then that lot payment is automatically taken and paid to John for this thing with a note that's automated that identifies what GI, what governance, what vote decision came from that. In other words, everyone who votes for an option has to fund that option too, right? So if you get a whole bunch of people voting for the option that wins, then the system could automatically debit their lot and credit your account with the required amount, right?
Yeah.
So it could be to vote for this, it costs 100. If it doesn't win, you get it back. It never gets taken out of, never gets taken.
I'd say if it doesn't win, it doesn't get taken back. It's like a lottery. Like what else are you going to spend your,
like a raffle almost or something.
It's like a raffle.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
I guess there is like, I think you've talked about that game theory before, when it is an incentive to give it back if you don't win. And I don't remember how that.
You don't have to. Works. I was assuming that, but you can run it however you want to run it. That's the fun part about all of this. Like Joe has this thing that I copied from him about how it's just software. All of this is just software. So you can literally do anything you want to do with it. And I'll quote somebody else I have a lot of respect for, Aaron Schwartz, who was one of the co-founders of Reddit, was really fascinated by the possibilities of software because it was the closest thing to magic, like Harry Potter style magic. It's the closest thing we have to magic, where you can just write something, you write a magic spell and the words are in a certain specific order and it does a thing. And it's like magic. You can do anything you want to do.
Yep.
So in theory, we could do anything you wanted to do.
Hey, to quote Greg, here the tools, go do something creative with it. Isn't that what he says?
Yeah. And then all of these should end up in the quotes layer, I think.
That's not.
We got one of those now too.
That's not untrue. Or take quotes from the actual shows that we do and put them in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I think like that could be interesting. There would definitely be like some crazy automation kind of stuff that goes with it.
Yeah, the automation stuff would be fun to help with too.
And like, I think we would just have to have like, and maybe what I could do for for like the time being, while because it takes a while for all that stuff to come to like to actually work, all the automation
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like doing just like a public Google Drive like spreadsheet, so that way like, oh, like if there's an issue, this is the fucking spreadsheet I work off of.
Yeah. Not
Like,
only
yeah.
that's 100% how you should do it, I think, because not only is it something that you can do immediately to get it rolling, but doing the manual steps like that will then inform the automation, right? So going like
Yeah.
seeing, here's what the steps are, here's what needs to, you don't always think about everything that needs to be automated until you do the steps manually. And then you're like, oh, this step needs to be automated. This step needs to be, here's how it needs to be designed.
Yeah.
So if you did it manually, you could then say, hey, Den, here's what it takes for this workflow to work. And it would be great if it was easier for the next person to come along, also myself, and you just automated this. So I think that's how it should be done.
Yeah.
For that reason, anyway. I want to put time into this idea and into the umbrella promise layer. They're completely different things.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you told
But
me
they're-
what the umbrella promise was, and now I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. Well, it is in a nutshell, it is using a DAO to control how a politician acts
Oh,
in
that's right.
Congress, right?
It was basically
in-
creating a super PAC DAO.
Basically that, yeah. And so the politician or the representative or the city official would be contractually bound by an agreement that says, hey, I'm going to put up everything I have to vote on. I'm going to put it up for everyone to read, and then y'all can read it and vote on how I should vote on it. And whenever I vote, I'm required to vote in the way that the DAO votes for me to vote.
Yeah.
And what that does is it removes a lot of the special interest, lobbyist bribery, like swampy in the clubs type backdoor meeting deals, because the person can just say, hey, I've got to do what they tell me to do. And if I don't, they will fire me, because
It also
that's the agreement.
removes, the whole idea of having a representative, but that's fine.
Well, no, they're still your representative. They're
They have
just
to vote the way
they're
the
just
DAO tells them to vote.
they just have to, yeah, it's a more direct democracy style representative. It's a way to make sure that only the type of like to be able to be in that DAO, to have the ability to vote, you would have to confirm that you live in that jurisdiction, that you have, like, you are somebody that lives in that city, if it's a city official, or in that state, if it's something for that's, it'd be great if we could get one that was, statewide in that.
Yeah. The only issue though, like I see what you mean, but the only issue is that like the reason why you pick certain representatives is because they have more time and energy and effort that they can put towards a thing. So I want their opinion and their vote to be going in a certain way. But I also don't want to be the one that's telling them exactly how to vote, because they might be like, hey, I turned down I didn't vote for that gun bill. Why? Because it didn't go far enough. Like there's people that do that. But then there's also people that like, oh, you didn't vote for the gun bill. Well,
Yeah. So it's definitely a different style of government.
Yeah.
You're right. And it may or may not be, like, it's not going to be everyone's thing.
Yeah.
And there's also never going to be a lack of influence and people trying to like manipulate stuff either.
Yeah.
One of the things that it does is it makes it like, okay, if you want to influence and bribe a vote, buy a vote from a politician, if you want to, puppeteer them, you can no longer just pay them and enrich them. You have to enrich their community and bribe their community to do it. So you got to go local and spend your money in the community to convince the community to vote a certain way, so that the politician will vote a certain way, or the representative will vote a certain way. And so instead of concentrating all of the money and the wealth into Washington, into DC, the umbrella shields that sort of situation. And instead of it going to a centralized Washington swamp, the money goes into the cities. They buy local advertising. They invest in the local newspapers to run their ads instead. They have to get grassroots with it, which injects all of that. Even if the money is still corrupt, it injects that corrupt money into the actual communities itself, instead of, at the very least, it can redirect the flow of money through the communities. So that's what I like about it. and it's a good enough idea to try it and see if it works. It would be a disservice to not try that and see if it worked, to find out what's wrong with it by doing it. So that's what I like about
Honestly,
that.
you could kind of use that with my thing. If you like wanted to, if you think about it, like it's basically the same idea. Because even corrupt money, or even because if you think about it, even like if a whale comes in and heavily influences stuff, it's still helping Den in the end.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, great. I might be doing, somebody might come in and throw their dick down and be like, hey, you're doing an article in this layer, in the Christianity layer, for the next 6 months. But the way I got that is because I got a lot and I threw it around. Great. That money's going towards me so I can keep doing it. And then it's going towards Den because Den's using it. So honestly, this might be the same project, just on a smaller scale.
Conceptually, that's kind of how Den is set up from the start. Even if, let's say somebody wanted to come in and just take over. Let's say if somebody wanted to come in and let's say somebody wanted to buy Den, right? Let's say Facebook strategically wants to purchase Den.
Yeah.
Right. Well, to do that, you got to buy up the Den.DAO lot. Right. So to be able to come in, even if you're running a botnet and you want to fuck shit up and you want to run bots on Den, to do that, you got to go buy up matter so that you have enough energy to spend to fuck shit up. And so part of Den is designed in a way where, even if it gets attacked, the way to do that is to enrich the community.
Yeah.
By design, the only way to attack it is to, that's the biggest defense it has against bots and stuff. It brings complexity in it, so it keeps people out who get confused because we didn't make it easy enough to use. But it also keeps bots and it keeps attacks out because it makes it expensive to do that kind of stuff. And if you do it, all you're doing is raising the price of matter. All you're doing is raising the value of lot. All you're doing is creating more interest in the platform itself. So yeah, maybe it goes in a different direction that we didn't see. But in doing so, it isn't like the people that have been here building on it don't benefit from that, because it increases the value of the tokens that are used, because they're actually cogs in a machine. So if you buy the machine and the machine becomes valuable, everybody owns part of that machine. So the creators don't get left out to dry, that kind of thing.
What do you what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. If you were to use, because you don't like Google Docs, right?
I like them so much. They're so very convenient. I'm trying to get away from using Google is the thing. Google in general. I'm de-Googling. I got rid of my Google Drive. I still use Google Docs. I use LibreOffice, but it's not like a shared, accessible thing. I've used other stuff that, I've used Arcane Docs, which is like a blockchain Google Docs. It's not easy to use for the regular person. But yeah, we could use Google Docs. It's a tool. Use all the tools. I don't care if I don't like the company. We'll use the tool until I get tired of using the tool enough to say, here's a better option from a company that doesn't suck.
Yeah, I hate doing things twice. So I was gonna maybe make the Excel spreadsheet, just so you kind of have an idea of what I'm thinking. And then, but so if you have one that you prefer, let me know. But
use Google Docs. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah. I use it all the time.
All right. Well, I'll let you go get those help desk tickets.
Yeah, I love that. I just said, well, sorry, Jacob Wayne, we're not going to be here for 45 minutes. And then we're here for 45 minutes.
Were we here for 45 minutes?
It's almost 3 hours in now.
I'm looking for exactly where he was.
11. Oh, where he said it? I don't know.
11:23.
Oh, not quite.
You have close. 15 more minutes. You want to talk about something?
No, but I do want to execute on that public smoke sesh. We can brainstorm a little bit. So let me know when you want to do that. I can do that on the evenings. Typically,
isn't tonight date night for you?
We have been so busy that I am sad to say that we have basically we're just date night is whenever we both are done in the afternoon and we think tonight's a good night. So
I wanted
it
to
used
do
to be
this.
Wednesdays, but now it's kind of whenever we can fit it in.
I wanted to do this soon because I kind of have this thing where I get excited and then don't do shit if I don't do it right away. Like most people. That's a 6.
Well, I did just get some new weed. Can try
I'm
that
trying to
out.
figure out what time I'm going to be free at. 9 o'clock. That goes till that. Yeah, I might not be free until kind of late-ish. Because there's a mixer at 6 I want to go to.
And you
then-
got the Seth Meyers show to go to today.
I don't know if I'm gonna go. Just because, like, I know Dakota's gonna be like disappointed if she doesn't go with me. And like we're here all the time. Like I can sign up for it any other day. And we like to do like things like the first time together. So I might do that.
Well, text me. Let me know what you're thinking. And if we
what time
we
would
can't
be
squeeze
too
it in
late?
tonight, we do it Thursday. We can talk about more Den stuff and be like, wow, that was a wild blockchain roundtable, wasn't it?
So the problem is that this is a smoke sesh.
Yeah.
And I have things I have to do in the afternoon some days.
Uh-huh.
So I can't smoke and then go do those things.
Right. Yeah.
Like I can't smoke and then go to improv.
Right.
And
when is your improv day? Is that Thursdays?
Like, tomorrow it's 6 to 8, I think. And then there's one today also, because I was gonna say let's do it today, but it starts at 6.
We could do it Friday, but then it's Friday night. So how do you plan that? You know?
I don't do shit on Fridays though, usually.
Yeah.
Like
Me
I'm
either,
kind of,
but I figured you did.
I'm kind of busy until 9 o'clock though.
On Friday?
Today.
Because
I kind of wanted to do it today. I could just skip the mixer.
If we do it today and we start late, we at least have the benefit of it being a morning show for Asia. What's up? Coffee with Asia, cannabis with Asia. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like it'd be like starting at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night, and that's probably too late.
Yeah,
and especially after a day of me watching and doing a bunch of improv. I'm fine. I can skip the mixer today, and I can do it today. Actually,
you think?
Yeah, I'll just skip them because it's every week. The mixer is every week, so I can go fucking whenever. It's like a jam for improv. So like there's no like I can just go the following week. There's no pressure for me to have to go today.
So instead of doing that, you want to meet up this afternoon and talk about how to design this Patreon style thing you're talking about, how it looks, build the document, and then see if we can get either Joe or Greg or both to swing by.
Yeah, Joe and or Greg. Because I feel like they're both going to have like really cool, a little bit different ideas.
They're both Central Time, so they have an extra hour anyway. So that's great. Tentatively, let's plan for that.
Yeah, ask them
you want me to ping them and let them and see if they are down to join and if they're able to.
They're free.
Okay.
Here's my ideal situation. Let's see. I just had it open and then I had to close it. Actually, fuck it. Whenever I can skip this. If I can be done by like 8:30 by 8 o'clock, that's cool. But also no big deal if I'm not, or by 7 o'clock. That would, like if I'm done by like fuck it. I've seen these teams plenty. I have no time restriction. I ain't got shit. I was gonna go to some shows, but I'm like, I've seen these people so many times and they're usually okay. So I'll be all right. Yeah, whenever they want.
Okay. I'll ping them. I'll see if they're able, and then I'll let you know.
If they want to go at 4 fucking o'clock today, let me know. I'm down. Let's get. Well, we could literally do 4:20. We should start ours at 4:20.
Yeah, we could literally start at 4:20. That's what we could do.
Don't tell them about that part of the show though.
Okay.
Just be like, hey, John,
swing by about 5:36, 5:30.
Like this is your pitch. You can write it out if you want to. You both talk about using blockchain to using the tools you have and go do something creative. Well, John and I have this awesome creative pitch for you about a ways to increase Den use and help number go up, while also creating good content and making Den a better community for all. Can we have 30 minutes to an hour of your time to meet this afternoon?
And you want to do this open and live?
Yeah.
Okay.
But and then like you can say that too, like but we, since Den is all about being transparency and keeping things open and honest with the public, we'd love to have this just be a live show that we're going to randomly do.
And that's why we're not telling you what it is beforehand and not
well,
disclosing that we're meeting before.
I guess you can like give them like a soft idea of what it is.
Yeah, sure.
Well, like, because in what I said, it's like it's a way to create value and content for it. So that's kind of like a soft idea. So they're not coming in going, oh, they're going to have us rewrite the code. It's more like, no, it's this, but they won't know about you and I getting stoned an hour before.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's perfect. So then we should probably do it in the in the coffee layer. Do you want to put up a post ahead of time?
Yeah,
for people to sort of like be able to pitch ideas on in the reply section and stuff like that.
I can do that. I would say let's what was I gonna say? Shit.
Or the cannabis layer. We did the cannabis layer.
No. I like coffee layer. I like that better. Even in the Den layer or something too. Like I think if you post anything, if you're not posting in the Den layer, you're doing it wrong. Because there's just
we can post it in the Den layer then, because it's directly like, hey, an idea for like how to use Den, how do we make this work? And then hopefully more people, because not everybody is subscribed to the coffee layer. So more people see it, more people can weigh in with their opinions.
I'll probably just post it in both. But okay, let's get like them saying yes or no first before I like do a thing like, and later we're gonna be joined by kind of deal.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta make sure.
I want to just run this by you, because I could see Joe in particular being kind of annoyed at us for being stoned and pitching an idea. I could be like, hey guys, like, don't waste my time. I've got better things to do. If you have an idea, come to me like sober.
Well, I'll just make sure he's free, like for a casual, like public meetup. I don't have to tell. I just want to make sure that he doesn't think he's coming into a business meeting that's structured. And if that's the case, as long as he's not coming in thinking that it's like, because his time is like valuable, of course.
Exactly.
So,
and I don't want him to be like, look, like this is kind of offensive that you're like gonna go and be stoned to pitch me an idea.
No, I don't think that's a problem. I think we just don't bring him in until later. And then we don't have to keep him around forever. It's fine. And he might not even be free. He might not be able to do it at all.
Yeah, just be like it's a 30-minute pitch. Well, yeah, like let's like keep that time real short then. Or 30-minute, like it's like a half pitch, half like brainstorming, see what he thinks.
Yep. Yep. He likes brainstorming a lot too. So he'll be able to see like where the changes need to be made for, like, for example, like when you vote on something to like add the lot to it immediately or something like that.
Yeah. And that's what like I said, my only big worry is that he's going to be like, yo, this is offensive that you're like going to waste my time. I don't
think it's a waste of time though.
As long as both of them, well, the fact that we're like smoking and doing this.
Yeah.
Like as long as
we just wanted to make it, we just wanted to also be funny.
But
we like to get high together.
We did like an hour of brainstorming before as well when we're sober, like this morning.
We just did an hour of brainstorming right now ahead of time.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. So we did it sober too.
We just wanted this to be an interesting. So I think we went 4:20 to 5:20, you and I, and then we had it, and then we took a 10-minute break and had him show up at 5:30.
Okay. I'll see if I can arrange that.
5:30 to 6.
Yeah, if he can't make it, he can't make it. I'll see if I can if he's got time, and then I'll call you or I'll text you, let you know what's up. And if so, we'll do it. If not, we'll do it a different day.
Kind of if we don't get them today, I'd rather just push it to a different day. He'll probably be busy tomorrow, so we'd have to do it Friday. But yeah. All right, man. Let me know what you think.
Cool. And I think I have direct access to Greg's calendar too.
He just got to a shoot.
I can just schedule it. Boom. Perfect. We won.
You're welcome, Jacob Wayne. That's what we're here to do.
All right, dude. Have a good time. Thanks
Yeah,
for the extra hour overtime. I think it's a really good idea, and we should do it.
for sure. All right, let's do it.
Let's see how much support we can drum up. I'll call you later.
Yeah, I like this too because I bet we
after
can
lunch.
get like more like at a certain point, like getting Jared involved, like finding other ways for friends to make money too, and like
Nice.
be involved with the shit. So, all right, man. I'll see you
Nice.
later.
Cool. All right. Bye. Here's a song from Y'all Weird called Into the Dragon. I'll see y'all later.
See you.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.